MEAC College Football Saturday presents the #1 offense against the top-rated defense as Florida A&M and Hampton University meet head-on next. MEAC College Football Saturday travels to Hampton, Virginia. And we're on the campus of Hampton University at Armstrong Field as the Rattlers of Florida A&M come in to take on the Pirates of Hampton University. Hello again, everyone. I'm Charlie Neal. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to MEAC College Football Saturday. When you look at the last 4 years in this conference and the teams that have won the regular season title, it's either been Florida A&M or Hampton. Well, for Hampton to three-peat as the conference champs, they're going to have to beat a very, very tough Florida A&M team who comes in unbeaten in conference play and the top-rated offense. Let me bring in my partner, Ronnie Duncan. And Ronnie, we a lot is said about Florida A&M's offense. Not much is said about their defense, but you don't go 4-0 in the conference without playing some good defense. And one reason is the play of Tyron Johnson.
You know, you talk about a monster on the football. You talk about coming from the defensive end position. This guy can simply play, and he's very aggressive. Take a look at the numbers you will see on him. Sure, he'll get a lot of tackles, but when you consider all the tackles that he has, and I'm talking about 15, 8 of those tackles have been for loss. I'm talking about individual tackles. This guy has gotten to the quarterback 5 times.
On the offensive side of the ball, of course, Hampton University likes to run the ball. Their offensive line is going to have to have a good day, especially against Tyron Johnson. Opening holes for a young man who did it all last week, Derek McElwain, 136 yards and a touchdown against Norfolk State.
I am so impressed with number 31 when you consider what he did coming in for Montel Coley, a guy who stayed out, 23 carries, 135 yards last week, averaged 5.8 yards a carry and 1 touchdown. Not bad at all.
Well, when you look at the 1AA standings, a very, very important game for both of these teams. The winner probably wins the conference title.
Most definitely, especially you've got to consider this. The NCAA has a playoff system where they take just 16 teams. Right now, these 2 teams are in the top 25. However, somebody's got to go and somebody's got to stay.
All right. Well, it's the 9th time that these 2 teams have met. Hampton has won the last 2. And we'll be back with the starting lineups and the opening kickoff from Hampton, Virginia in just a moment.
It's your priority.
I'm Charles Harris, Commissioner of the Mideastern Athletic Conference. We're delighted you've joined us for this telecast. It is the purpose of the MEAC to establish, organize, and supervise intercollegiate athletics within a compact group of institutions of high academic standards and light co-curricular programs. The MEAC institutions have vowed to cultivate and develop the highest athletic potential and insist upon the constant pursuit of excellence. On behalf of the entire MEAC family and our member institutions, we encourage you to continue to support them, their athletic programs, and our student athletes.
MEAC College Football Saturday is brought to you by Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service. The Marines, the few, the pride of the Marines. By National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. Here on the campus of Hampton University, Armstrong Field for MEAC College Football Saturday. The weather conditions in Hampton, Virginia today, an overcast sky, partly sunny. Winds are very light right now, although they may pick up as the afternoon progresses at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The officials for today's game is assigned by the Mideastern Athletic Conference. Freeman Williams is the referee. Bill Feely is the umpire. Carl Coleman, the head linesman. Curly Nimmons, the line judge. Jeff Leaf, the side judge. Ron Taylor, the back judge. And Avery Fields is the field judge. And we look at the times these 2 teams have met only 3 times since Hampton has joined the MEAC. Of course, they met last year. Hampton won that opening game of the season, 21-14, but Florida A&M leads the overall series 5 games to 3. And speaking of that 5 games to 3 series, Billy Joe, who is the coach of the Florida A&M Rattlers, is in his 6th year. But more importantly than the conference championship in some people's minds today is the fact that a win today by Florida Billy Joe his 200th career win, and he talked to our Greg Willis just moments ago.
Thank you very much, Charlie. I'm here with Billy Joe, the coach of the Florida A&M Rattlers, and victory number 200 is online with this game, but yet this game has other implications. Your thoughts on that?
Well, yes, 200 victories is a milestone, and we're hopeful that we can get it today. But if we don't get it today, you know, there's always a future. Of course, this game has other implications, MEAC championship implications, Heritage Bowl, playoffs, so we're hopeful that we'll play real good today.
Wish you the best of luck. Take care. Back to you, Charlie.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. Charlie Neal, along with Ronnie Duncan. Here is Jeremy Edwards. There you see the senior for Florida A&M, prepared to kick it off. Hampton University won the toss, elected to receive. Jeremy Edwards, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, as you look at Chris Parker, who's back deep for Hampton University, kicked a field goal with 3 seconds left in regulation to tie it up. That is at Howard University to force overtime. They were trailing 24-21 in that contest when Jeremy hit that big 30-yard. In fact, he had missed 3 field goals earlier in the contest. But as I said, deep for Hampton University, Chris Parker, 4th leading kickoff return man in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. He's a sophomore out of Smithfield, Virginia, averaging 21 yards per kick return. This one goes deep into the end zone, out of the end zone, and will not be run back. So Hampton University will get the ball first down and 10 at their own 20. Let's look at the USPS starting lineups for Hampton University. Donald Hill is the offensive coordinator. The man in the middle is Kelly McClendon. His guards are Steiner and Vaughn. Foreman and McCall are the tackles. It's an offensive line that averages 305 pounds. In the backfield, Mike Jones and Montrell Coley, who did not play last week against Norfolk State. Broughton is one of the other men back there, and there on the first play of the game, they hand off to Montrell Coley, who gains maybe a yard, and that's about all he's going to get, and it'll bring up a 2nd down and 9. We spoke of Montrell Coley. Mike Jones is a good one in that backfield. And Mike Compton, along with Broughton and Weidman, are the receivers. On the defensive side of the ball, Florida A&M is led by Jerron Daly. He's a good one. Watch out for him. We spoke of Tyron Johnson with 5 sacks. The linebackers and the secondary. That defensive line for Florida A&M averages 271 pounds, and they keep the ball on the ground again. This time, Montrell Coley getting the start. He was banged up a couple last week, and that's why they kept him out. He had a sprained ankle, and they kept him out of the lineup. But this week in practice, he banged up his knee. He was hit by a practice player. Coach said, I want to take a gun and shoot him. He said, you don't mess up our best running back. A young man who last year gained over 1,000 yards rushing, 1,024 to be exact. He's in motion right now on 3rd down. Back to pass, Johnson in and out of the hands of Broughton. The intended receiver defending him was Vernon Mitchell, a senior out of Miami, Florida.
Nice slant pattern written right there by number 18, Warren Broughton. And you can see Roy Johnson definitely had the great delivery. 3-step drop back, and he passes the slant pass. However, Broughton couldn't hold on to it, and that spells the doom of a nice drive for Hampton.
Tellis Bolden, freshman out of Fort Lauderdale's Dillard High, 3rd in the conference in punting, is back to do the punting for Hampton University. And Vernon Mitchell is back to receive this punt. High kick he calls for and receives the fair catch right at his own 41-yard line. So Florida A&M will go to work. The first time we've seen them on offense. This game just getting underway here at Hampton University. 13:41 left in the first quarter. No score. They're going without the huddle. And, of course, a couple of weeks ago we saw this high-powered offense kind of stymied as you look at the USPS FAMU starting offense, a line that blocks very well, 330 up front for those guys. A lot of receivers and backs in the backfield. You got Lamb and Nunley. Nunley was a little stiff today. He sprained a hamstring earlier this week in practice, and they keep the ball on the ground on first down. Of course, they spread those receivers, and it scares people to death. But they do keep the ball on the ground on first down, and Kenny Williams gets the carry. Let's look at the defense for Hampton University. They're led by Alonzo Lee. He's the defensive coordinator. Cornell gets the start today, and along with Scott Bland up front and Foot. And, of course, they got a reception to Kanan Lamb, and Kanan Lamb has a first down into Hampton territory at about the 40, make that the 38-yard line.
You can talk about Kenan Lamb, but it's what the offense does for the Rattlers of Florida A&M. And the reason I love him is because they know what to do once they catch the football. Look at him, eluding tackles. See, he gets more positive yards doing stuff like that.
They call them the Rack Boys run after catch, RAC. They gain more yards after they make the reception. Here's Ken Williams on the carry straight ahead on the draw play, and he's bouncing off people and down inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line, and another first down for the Rattlers.
Kenny Williams, a senior out of Baltimore, Maryland. He's 6'1", he's 250 pounds. He's a load to break down. Came into the game 325 yards on 63 carries. Watch him here. Hit me once, hit me twice. Man, that is not lightweight tackling, not on me. I'll get a first down.
First down and 10 it is for FAMU. Sider back to pass, throws a little swing pass out to Kenan Lamb. He has a first down. And Florida A&M, who took this ball just moments ago at their own 41-yard line, have driven all the way down into deep into Hampton University territory, where the ball is at the 10-yard line. Make it the 9, where it is first and goal for Florida A&M. They're trying to strike quickly here today. And here's the quarterback, Sider. He keeps it, goes straight ahead and inside the 5 to about the 2-yard line. Mark it at the 3.
Don't let the passing arm fool you. Jawan Sider can also run with the football. He proved it on that play, but Hampton has to work on something. And let's face it, even last week against Norfolk State, they do not tackle very well in key situations. And down in the red zone, you know the Rattlers can score.
Sider came into this program from the University of West Virginia, and now we have a penalty flag, the first one of the ball game, and let's see who this one will be against. Florida A&M started the season with a loss to 12th rated Miami, the University of Miami. They were 12th rated at the time, and that score was 57-3. They lost 4 fumbles. Gray was hurt.
False start on offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Then they beat Norfolk State 56-7. Gray started the game, 4 touchdown passes. FAMU 554 yards. They lost to Tennessee State, beat South Carolina State, Morgan, and Howard. Those are the last 3 games, and they were off last week after that triple overtime win over Howard a couple of weeks ago. Sider, he was hit immediately, and we're going to call it an incomplete pass. Came in and made the hit on it was Monty Foote. Monty Foote did a good job of pressuring the quarterback Sider, but his arm was going forward. It was not ruled a fumble.
Well, that's something that Coach Joe Taylor wanted to see, and I'm talking about his football team be alert on defense and penetrate through that big offensive line. Watch him coming here, baby. That is a big-time hit. I'm sure NFL scouts would love to know all about this young man.
Deion Hunt was the man who came up with the ball. Hampton's defense ranked 2nd in the conference, allowing only 250 yards a game. And the #1 defense is North Carolina A&T. So you've got a top-rated defense going against the #1 offense. On 3rd and goal, and it's caught and falling down shy of the goal line, bringing up a 4th down. On the reception was Jacquay Nunley, who has a little hamstring today.
You know, when you talk about getting inside that red zone and making sure you can get some things happen, the Rattlers can do exactly that. But I love this kid, number 85, Mr. Nunley, one of the best receivers there is in college football.
Jeremy Edwards on to attempt a field goal. And this will be a 20-yard field goal attempt. Jeremy 6 of 10 in field goal percentage or kicking this year. He's a left-footed kicker. This one is up, and it is good. So it's a 3-0 ball game as FAMU draws first blood, and they go on top 3-0 here in the first quarter over Hampton. 11:27 remaining.
University Athletic Department.
3-0 Hampton University. There's the rankings in 1AA. 16th for Florida A&M. Hampton is ranked 20th.
Charlie, consider the 2 teams. The Rattlers 4-2 overall, 4-0 in the MEAC. This team is averaging nearly 60 points a game. Incredible. Hampton University 5-2, 3-1 in the conference. Somebody has got to lose today. This is going to be one heck of a game.
Jeremy Edwards to kick it off for the 2nd time today. The first one sailed out of the end zone. This one will do likewise, and that will not allow Chris Parker an opportunity to show his ability to return return kicks.
What FAMU brings to the table is a complete football team, a complete package. I mean, they're able to kick the ball extremely well. They're able to play on special teams better than most teams in this conference.
Greyhound scoring drive. It was an 8-play drive that ended with a 20-yard field goal by Jeremy Edwards. They used off 2 minutes and 14 seconds off the clock. First down and 10. Hampton University with the ball, trailing 3-0. Coley is the man in motion. And they keep the ball on the ground and they go straight ahead. And it's Mike Jones on the carry.
Mike Jones is a big guy, number 36, the big fullback. He is able to get a lot of good yards, and that's one thing that Joe Taylor likes about his football team. He said, Ronnie, we love to pound the football, and he uses so many different individuals in those situations. Mike Jones is a name you will hear. You will hear Coley, and of course you will hear about Derek McElwain, who was just simply awesome last week.
Coley ranked, Mike Jones ranked 4th in the conference in rushing this year. Here's Coley with the ball trying to get to the outside, turns the corner, but not much running room over there as he is stacked up by Aaron Gray, the free safety out of Miami Coral Gables, and he got some help from his friends.
He got some help from his friends, one in particular, number 36. You'll see him. He's the lead blocker. I'm talking about Mike Jones, and you'll see Coley be able to get around that corner for some extra yards. Coach Taylor sitting on the sideline saying we have got to win this game. I talked about the importance of this game and how much it means to this conference and how much it means to this city and to this university. He said, Ronnie, when we play FAMU, it's all or nothing.
First time they've been home since Labor Day. They have done a good job on the road, 16-2 in the last 18 road games. They're glad to be back home. Here's Mike Jones trying to go straight ahead, running straight up. Didn't get a lot of his shoulders down into that pile to try to move it forward. We're trying to get the first down. They have to get to the 31-yard line or 30-yard line. They did get the first down.
Creating big holes, and the big guy is the biggest hole to get through. I'm talking Mike Jones. You know what I like about these two teams? Contrast in style. One team pounds the football with the running game. The other team puts it up in the air, and I'm talking about FAMU. When you love running, you've got Hampton. When you love the ball in the air, you've got Billy Joe and the FAMU Rattlers.
First down and 10 for Hampton. They're 5-2 overall, 3-1 in the conference. Montrell Coley straight ahead, but not much running room for him there as he was submarine low by Anthony Cola, the linebacker out of Pensacola, Florida, wearing number 47. Watch him.
I'll tell you what, he gets through. And right behind the lead runner. You talk about getting into the tackle and making sure you can make those moves. He did it. Montrell Coley, 83 carries, 536 yards, 6.5. Tell me they didn't miss his presence last week. And then they have so much talent. The versatility on this team, simply awesome.
Second down. Roy Johnson back to pass, being chased and runs into one of his own men, but also there was the very nimble Jerron Daly, who was a player of the week a week ago for his play against Howard University on the defensive side of the ball. Watch number 1. He'll be all over the field today in white.
You know, anytime you can catch a guy from behind, as Daly was able to do, that is pure athleticism. Then when you consider where he was able to move on the football from that position, this guy is the left end. Big time player.
Third down and 8. Roy Johnson. Coley moves up to the line. Johnson's big back drop. And he intercepted. Darnell Vickers, and Vickers is on his way, and Coley finally brings him down, but not before he takes the ball back deep into Hampton University territory. And the FAMU fans are following their team. Their president, Dr. Humphreys, is here, and let's watch Darnell Vickers pick this one off.
What Darnell Vickers did is that it was a cover 1, and watch him here. Steps right in front of the receiver, and it is nothing but a big-time interception. And the reason he was able to do that, excellent footing. And when you are covering a man one-on-one in a situation like that, if you're covering the ball, it's important. And that time, he got inside the receiver, and it was nothing but the INT, and he's happy about that, Mr. Vickers.
And it was not a very good pass by the quarterback Johnson. And here's a pass that's incomplete. And trying to hit Demetrius Bendros into the end zone, and he's covered by Kiernan Spate out of Washington, D.C.'s Woodson High. As you look at Bendros, had a touchdown in his last outing, has 12 receptions coming in, 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. Second down, and you look at what the Rattlers have done in the conference, and to keep it on the ground. This time, Ken Williams goes straight ahead. He's inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line. Talking about the offense, number 1, that is for FAMU in total offense, scoring in pass offense, and they're 6th in rushing offense.
The one thing that Hampton cannot afford to do is let FAMU come in here and rock this house. And that's something that FAMU can do. Anytime you score nearly 60 points a game, you can score fast and you can score often. And if FAMU gets ahead of you, chances are you won't catch it.
Back to pass. Sider again. Pump fakes, is batted in the air by one of the up linemen for Hampton University. I believe it was Greg Scott who got his hands on it and knocked it in the air.
You know, Michael Bland was over there too, and if you can watch it in slow motion, we'll see exactly who gets the credit. I think it's number 96. Watch him here. Bland gets his hand up, and yes, he's right there for the football. No, it's not basketball, but it works the same way. A block is a block, and as long as you put it out of bounds, you have an opportunity to win.
Jeremy Edwards has already kicked a 20-yard field goal. We'll try to make this one a 21-yarder to make it a 6-0 ball game. It's up, and it is good, and that's the score here. So the interception, even though the touchdown wasn't scored by the Rattlers, we have another field goal, and Florida A&M is on top of this one, 6-0. 7:26 left in the first quarter. A couple of field goals by Jeremy Edwards, giving him 8 for the year, has given FAMU a 6-0 lead in this contest, and we bring this ball right into your living room. Hold on to your popcorn. There it is.
Brian McIntyre is the cameraman, and he was able to get the shot of the game so far. Way to go, Brian. You notice Brian didn't move either. He wasn't scared.
No. Well, can't be. Like a linebacker. Everything's coming at you. Jeremy Edwards has been a busy man today. He kicked off, and he's the third, make this the 4th time today. He will have kicked the ball off, or a 3rd time, let's say. He kicked the opening kickoff, kicked after the last field goal, and now he's kicking again. And again, Chris Parker will not have an opportunity to run it out. Not as deep as the previous two, but again, it's a touchback, and it'll be brought out to the 20.
When you
and let's look at the last scoring drive. The Greyhound scoring drive, 4 plays, and they came up with a 21-yard field goal that took off 41 seconds off the clock.
One thing that has to be said in reference to the last 2 drives, this game could easily be 14-0, especially when you consider the awesome scoring attack of FAMU. When you consider Michael Bland getting the block and forcing 2 field goals, you know that Hampton has a strong defense, and that's why they're among the top in the MEAC.
Ranked number 2 right now in that department. Johnson pitches. Here's McElwain in the game, and McElwain doesn't have much running room as Darnell Vickers, who has an interception in this game, his first of the season, comes up to make the stop.
One of the reasons why he didn't get a lot of yards, Zuriel Smith, who happens to be a wide receiver, wasn't too much of a blocker. You see him right there. He lets his man go, and guess who gets it first on the tackle? You see it right there, A.C. Wyatt. You see, when the wide receiver is told to block, you've got to block, son. You got to put your body on somebody. And that time, he just wasn't about it. That was called lightweight blocking, Charlie.
Second down, and we'll call it 11 after a loss of 1 on the pitch. Here's McElwain again, and not much running room for him that time as he tried to go off the right side, and he was dropped by Corey Johnson out of Killian High, number 54.
He may have been dropped by Corey Johnson, but once again, you're seeing guys who are trying to penetrate through that defense, and that's what you see with Derek McElwain. One thing which happened with Derek last week, he gained a tremendous amount of confidence, 135 yards, subbing for Montreal.
Goes wide to the top of the screen, to the right side. McElwain in motion. Johnson back to pass on 3rd down, looking in and out of the hands of McElwain. He had it. He was playing over.
Anthony Cola was pretty
right.
Anthony Cola did an excellent job because of the simple fact that even though his reaction time was not as smart as he wanted, as you can see, he got inside of the way and the eyesight of the receiver, and that's what happened on that particular play. Anytime you can play that close, sometimes you can create some havoc, and that's exactly what happened. McElwain was never able to turn around.
And Tellis Bolin will kick it away. And it takes a FAMU bounce and bounces back toward the midfield stripe, and Florida A&M will go to work. 1st down and 10 at their own 48-yard line.
They will get a chance in this next series to see a young man who is simply awesome. I'm talking Jacquay Nunley, 5'11", 200 pounds. You talk about a heck of a receiver. So far, 41 catches for 430 yards and 4 touchdowns. He and Lamb are a solid 1-2 connection. But when you consider that the Rattlers sometimes go with 5 receivers, man, they can make your life miserable as a defensive player.
They give it to Ken Williams, though, and the big fellow rumbles for about 5 yards, making about 6 as he crosses midfield into Hampton territory to about the 46-yard line. And you're talking about Jacquay Nunley as you look at Ken Williams there, young man out of Lake Clifton High. He's over from Baltimore, Maryland. And Jacquay a little banged up. Was not sure how much or if he would play today. Pulled a hamstring muscle on Monday in practice, and there's the quarterback Sider running for the first down inside the 40 to about the 38, 39-yard line.
Man, are you kidding me? Nunley's going to play. This is Hampton against FAMU. This is the bragging rights of the MEAC. It's all on the line. They would have to bring that young man in here with one leg.
But he said he wished it was about 100 degrees out because it would not affect him. It's cold to him. These are Florida kids, okay? And even Billy Joe told me before, he's from Philadelphia, Coatesville, Pennsylvania, and he said he's even gotten that Florida mentality about if it gets below 80 degrees, it's cold.
I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I've been watching the Rattlers for quite some time. They can play in any kind of weather, and the thing about it, they turn up the heat, especially on the offense, anytime you average 59.5 points a game.
Against your conference opponents, 44 points a game overall.
That's a lot of points. I don't care who you're scoring against. Sisters of the poor, you're getting the job done.
But one of the things that Billy Joe did say in terms of after this play, we'll get to that thought. Now we got 2 players falling down. Jacquay Nunley, the intended receiver. Chris Parker was the other man down there covering defensively.
Watch this play once again. You can see that my man is moving. And watch this. You will see the flag being thrown down right there. However, it looked like Rashid got involved in that a little bit too.
So we had an offsides penalty. That's going to move the ball 5 yards down the field as a penalty flag goes against Hampton University. Let's listen to our referee, Fleeman Williams.
Flag against the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down.
So it is second down and about 1. Ken Williams, the lone setback, beside the quarterback, Sider. Sider back to pass. Throws incomplete. Too high for Cedric Mitchell, the intended receiver on the far sideline. Mouye was the man defending, Rashad Mouye.
You know what? Sometimes when you get the pressure, man, it hurts a little. But, man, when you get hit after catching the ball, that's awesome. But you know what? Kenyon Lamb was down the middle of the field, wide open. Had his hands and saying, did you forget about me?
I'm going to say that Ken Williams' knee touched down before he got to the line of scrimmage. So he actually lost about a half a yard on that play. That'll bring up a 4th down and a long 2 situation for the Rattlers of Florida A&M. And let's see if they're going to go for it. Now, Billy Joe, you'll never see him on the sideline. He coaches from up in the press box, saying that he can see a whole lot better. Here you are, 4th down conversions. They lead the MEAC in that department. Let's go to the air. That's what they're doing. And they have it complete to Kanan Lamb. He has the reception still on his feet, and he's breaking toward the goal line. He is going to score. Kanan Lamb with a great run after catch, 30 yards on a 4th down play. Touchdown, Florida A&M.
All you got to do is listen to me. I told you exactly what they do so well, Charlie. Once they catch the ball, it's what they do after they catch the ball. Kanan Lamb should have been wrapped up, but that's been the problem for Hampton the last few weeks. They just can't get the tackles done. You don't arm tackle someone. You go for the legs. Watch Kanan Lamb get away. Oh, you think you got me? No, you don't. And you know what? He's probably saying to himself, it ain't my fault. Did I do that? You sure did. 6 on your side, and now you got nothing but a score for the Rattlers.
Jeremy Edwards' kick is blocked, but it still trickles through the upright. So when you've got it going on, you got it going on. 3:51 remaining. It's now a 13-0 ball game. Hello. Duncan here on Armstrong Field and Hampton University. As you look at Jeremy Edwards, whose team, Florida A&M, is ahead 13-0 over the Pirates of Hampton. Edwards has kicked a pair of field goals, an extra point. Sider just threw a 30-yard touchdown pass to Canaan Lamb. And that's been the scoring in the ball game. It's Lamb's 8th touchdown reception of the year. For Jawan Sider, who's #1 in the conference of passing efficiency, that's his 12th touchdown pass this year. And again, Chris Parker does not have an opportunity to run the ball after the deep kickoff by Jeremy Edwards. And it'll be brought out to the 20, first down and 10. This will be the 4th possession for Hampton in this first quarter alone. 6-play drive. That's what it was. And it was a 1:59 off the clock. That's what Hampton used to get into the end zone. The drive started at their own 25-yard line, so they went about 75 yards for the touchdown. Keep the ball on the ground this time, Montrell Coley.
They say pounding the football is the way you play Hampton football, and Montrell Coley going right up the gut, but he needs a little bit more support from the offensive line. The offense has been rattled so far, and let's face it, everyone talks about FAMU's offense. Well, obviously their defense has been doing something well anytime you're 4-2 overall and 4-0 in MEAC play.
And we know that Coach, I was getting ready to say this halfback pass is something they practiced all week, and it's complete to Warren Broughton. This is a play they practiced all week. They split the first 15 plays. 9 of them are running. The others were going to be play action, and he told me yesterday, watch out for the halfback pass, and that was a perfect opportunity to throw it, and it worked to perfection.
You know, as well as their defense has been playing, I speak of the Rattlers. They weren't ready for this. Montrell Coley says, I got a little skill as a quarterback, and watch it. Gets to Broughton. And, baby, that's a great game and a special move and something that Hampton needed extremely.
Broughton with his 18th reception of the year. Montrell Coley showing the versatility. He said he's got 3 running backs back there who can throw that pass. McElwain has practiced it. Now he's got the ball going ahead to Karima Mayer. Mayer breaking tackles, and Mayer down inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line before Jerron Daly came up to make the stop.
Mayer says, let's get to the game. He's talking to the Hampton crowd. This is our field. This is our home. Watch this kid. He is going to run through people, run by them, and it takes 2 to bring him down. Mayer with the great move.
Karima Mayer had a pretty good game a week ago. He came into today's game averaging just under 5 yards per carry from Chester, Virginia. It is first down and 10. Hampton trailing 13-0, but on the move right now. This drive started at their own 20, and here's Mayer again. Mayer down to the 25-yard line.
You know what I liked about that play? You got Montrell Coley, who happens to be the featured back here at Hampton. Watch him here. He will get out. Number 4, you see him right there? Holding down his blocker, making tame that block. And as you can see, Mayer gets through. That was 4 or 5 extra yards right there, Charlie. That's good fundamental football. Anytime Mayer can get through. But when you've got a featured back who wants to get down and dirty like Coley, who was injured last week, that's big-time playing.
So we've seen Coley, we've seen all of the running backs work today. Mike Jones, Karima Mayer, here's Coley again. He just ran right by one of the defenders, Wendell Ashley. Ashley didn't know which way he went, although Wendell didn't need to be there because the rest of his Rattler defenders were there to back him up. But watch what happens here. Watch number 11 in white. He starts reaching. He says, oh, where did he go?
I tell you what, he's a fast guy, and anytime you have him, you got to bring him down because he will make a move on you quicker than you believe.
Third down and short. Tyron Johnson making the stop on that last play. We talked about him earlier. Tackled for loss, a number of players this year, including 5 sacks. And he's got Coley in motion. Straight ahead, Karima Mayer trying to get the first down, trying to push the power forward. Let's see how close he got. It will be close. Ashley is saying, I don't think he made it. Hampton University started the season by beating Delaware State 21-0. They beat Howard 28-27 by blocking a couple of extra points. They beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 26-13. Beat Grambling up in New York 27-7. Lost to Southern in the Circle City Classic 21-6. And lost to North Carolina A&T 41-24. They had more yards than the Aggies, but 2 interceptions and a block punt spelled their doom. And then they beat Norfolk State a week ago 28-27. Here's the measurement for the first down. You see how much they need. Inches. I think Coach Joe Taylor in this situation will probably go for it. You're talking about gambling. We saw a gamble last week at the end of the game where Norfolk State went for it. Mo Forte on a 2-point conversion to win the game, and it came up short. But this is not as critical right now. We're still in the first quarter.
It's all academic. It's in the first quarter, but Hampton wants to get onto the scoreboard. And the best way to regain that confidence factor that has been lost for the Pirates so far is to go for it and go for it strong. And I know Joe Taylor, he's going for it big time. Watch.
Coley in motion. They're going to probably go straight ahead. And we had some movement. The center centered the ball, and nobody else moved. He took off, and the quarterback was submarine. I could not see who got up under there, but Roy Johnson never had a chance to even move his feet. He was upended before he could get moved. Watch this. There was some movement in the line, though. And let's see if we're going to have a penalty here.
Well, Kelly McClendon, number 76, is the center under the ball. He gave it to Roy Johnson, and Johnson had no idea what was going on.
I still don't think he made it. And there it is. So they turn the ball over on downs. They drive from their own 20 all the way down to the 18-yard line of Florida A&M. But they turn it over on downs.
That has got to help hurt that man right there. And I'm speaking of Coach Joe Taylor. Especially when you devise an offensive plan and you script the first 15 plays, everyone should be on the same page.
They were 6 of 16 coming into the game on 4th down conversions. That is Hampton University. Now Jawan Sider, correction. The man who's thrown a 30-yard touchdown pass already in this game. Back to pass on 1st down. Plenty of time. Sacked from behind. Brought down by Monte Foote.
Monte Foote was right there, number 52. He will get him from behind. Sider thought he had all kinds of time back there. As a matter of fact, he was about to write a novel. He said, "To my dear, lovely friend, let me write you this letter." And you know what? No, you're not, because I am the letter carrier, and picking it up is Monte Foote.
Monte Foote, ranked number 3rd in the conference in sacks, 5.5. Just picked up another, and it's 13-0 after 1.
Hey, all you got to do is say hello.
13-0 is our score here as we start the second quarter. Charlie Neal along with Ronnie Duncan and Greg Willis, and Florida A&M Rattlers are out in front by 2 field goals and a touchdown. Let's look at our first quarter Bank of America stats. When you look at the passing, FAMU has a 40-yard edge there, but Hampton has a 16-yard edge in rushing. Both teams with 4 first downs.
You know, something that sometimes you can look at a stat and it can be deceiving. FAMU, time of possession, 10 minutes. When you looked at the time of possession, Hampton, time of possession, 10 minutes. FAMU, just a little under 5. FAMU's leading the score right now, 13-0. As you can see,
the clock.
They can light up the scoreboard, and they can also shut it down, apparently.
Yes. The referee is going to keep. They're going to keep the time on the field because the scoreboard clock went out as we start the second quarter here. Apparently, when they were putting 15 minutes back on, everything was working up until then. So our referee informs us, Fleming Williams, that the time will be kept on the field. Marching force from Hampton University. We'll see a little bit of them at halftime. Also find out about a new program that's going on here on this fine campus at Hampton University. You got a chance, Ronnie, to spend some time with Dr. William Harvey, the president.
I tell you what, it was
Hampton
interesting.
University.
He talked about all the different things that are happening on this university. Also, he talked about the fine quarterback, Roy Johnson, who happens to be a senior here, but he is also in graduate school studying for his master's.
Sider decides to take off and run, and he's still on his feet, and he finally is brought down by Corey Cason out of Virginia Beach, number 43. But Sider found his receivers covered. He decides to take off and run.
Well, we see we had isolation there, number 46, Deion Hunt. Hunt has an opportunity, but, man, he's taken right out of the play. And that's excellent football when you consider what Kenny Williams was able to do. And Kenny Williams did that from the fullback position, number 33.
And you talk about Deion Hunt. He's the leading tackler in the conference. Came in with 66 tackles, 3 sacks, 6 for loss, an interception, and a partridge in a pear tree. So he does it all. We have a penalty against Hampton. Let's see what this is.
Have a 5-yard face mask against the defense. 5 yards from the end of the run. Repeat, second down.
It sounds like I don't need no harm.
So it is second down for Florida A&M. Second and about 1. 5-yard face mask penalty, and here's Sider again. He's going to take off, and he's going to get a first down, and he's going to get out of bounds in front of his own bench.
See, Sider isn't just some little weak quarterback you can bring down. Number 15 is a big fella.
You know, I called him linebacker today when he came out on the field. I said, hey, Mr. Linebacker, I was getting him and Quinn Gray, because those are some big guys. They could play linebacker or defensive end for some teams.
Versatility is a valuable asset to have, and that's something that FAMU has right now in Jawan Sider. Not only can he put it up, and obviously when you throw for over 900 yards and 12 touchdowns so far this season, he can do that, but running the football as well. A young man who has to get more into this football game. You saw him right there, Deion Hunt. Big-time tackler, but so far he has been contained. And the reason why, anytime Kenny Williams comes out of that backfield, he's meaning to block you.
6'2", 235 for Sider, who's back to pass. Incomplete. Bounces it in front of Jockway Nunley. Although Demetrius Bendros had released, there's a little talking going on down on the field between Travis Coleman and Rashad Mouye, because they won. Both of them came up to play the man. You see on the right side there, 86, Demetrius Bendros, he was getting ready to streak toward the end zone. He already has a reception today. 1 second down. On the draw play, Kenny Williams gets about 8 all the way to midfield. About an 8-yard gain for Kenny Williams.
Kenny Williams gets a lot of snaps, and it's whether or not the offensive line is able to get off on the snap quickly. And anytime you can do that, that opens up holes. Excellent play and a draw play in a situation like that.
Third down, we'll call it 2. And again, the quarterback, he breaks tackles and he gets the first down. That is Jerome Sider, and then Cason had to come up and make the stop and like hold on for dear life. So the quarterback is one of the leading rushers in the conference, believe it or not.
Well, you know what? When you talk about the MEAC, we shouldn't, look at the situation like that and say one of the leading rushers, because all you got to do is look down to Bethune-Cookman. You got Patrell Troutman, who does the same exact thing. Not only can he put it up, he can run with it too.
The difference is the design, and we got a movement by the left tackle, Derek Gray, from Oakland Park, Florida, and Anderson High. Strong, rangy kid, number 61, moved a little prematurely. So we're going to get a false start.
False start against the offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Well, the officiating crew, once again, MEAC, doing a fine job. Had an opportunity to talk to Johnny Greer, one of the finest officials out there in the NFL. He's the supervisor of officials. He's the man in charge of the officials in the MEAC. And they want to emulate some of the things that you see in the pro game. These officials are getting in 24 hours in advance of the game. And coming up next week, we're going to be talking with Johnny just about what's happening with the MEAC officials and why the games are called so much better this year.
First down, 15. For FAMU. Sider stands in there, decides to take off and run. He's trying to run over people. He didn't even try to get around anybody that time. He tried to run over a defender, Kurt Blackwell.
Watch it here. You'll see this guy. He looks at the football. He says, you know what? I got an opportunity to run over people. And you know why he decided to do that, Charlie? He's had so much success in this game doing it.
He gained a yard, 2nd and 14, we'll call it. Ball just inside the midfield stripe at about the 47-yard line. Hampton showing blitz defensively, something they said they would do today, and rotate the defense to try to confuse Sider. And they have it complete to Canaan Lamb, and Lamb has a first down at the 32-yard line.
You know, I love Lamb. I love when he makes that movement and says, it's a first down, Big Daddy, and I got it, Big Baby. Watch him, number 4. No reason why he's the leading receiver on this team. And when you consider the fact that he has done so many great things, he's awesome. You know, when you look at the stats, they'll tell you. You got coming into the game, it was all about Nunley. Then, when you look at the whole situation by 1 yard, team best, it's all about Lamb.
First down and 10, Sider. Bounces it on the ground to Jacque Nunley. Nunley, in terms of receiving, number 2 in the conference and number 3 in yards per game in the conference. Ranked 16th in the nation in 1AA in receptions per game, averaging 6 coming in. As you look at the stats on Sider today, second down and 10. Back to pass is Sider. And has it complete on the far sideline, and still run after catch is what they're known for. There goes Demetrius Vendros.
You know, once again, the tackling has been simply pathetic for Hampton. Anytime you have a man in a position where he can't get the first down, and you will see Vendros get the ball. Watch this. See, you got him. You can't hold on. And that's something that has to happen. Kenyon Space out of Washington, D.C. He had him grabbed, and he let him go. You've got to bring him down. Slow him up until somebody else can come to him, but don't let him get out of your grasp.
It's called wrap it up. That's what you have to do. Wide open for 6. And backing in, unmolested, is Jacque Nunley. He got down the seam between the safeties and made it look easy.
I tell you what, and they have made it look easy on one of the best defensive teams in Division I AA, and I speak of Hampton. Watch it here. Jacque Nunley will be in the end zone all by himself. That's right, you could have caught that too.
And this comes here in the second quarter. And they're making it 20-0. Hampton University. So they drive and score. And they lead it 20-0. 20-0 is our score here on the campus of Hampton University, and Hampton find themselves trailing in this particular ball game. The deepest penetration they've had has been to the FAMU 18-yard line. Unfortunately, they tried on a 4th down situation to pick up the yards needed for first down, 4th and inches. They were turned back by Florida A&M, who drove 72 yards and just put the ball in the end zone. Make that 82 yards rather, and put the ball into the end zone to make it a 20-0 ball game. And we still have time left here in the second quarter. This one Chris Parker cannot pick up. It finally does at about the 2-yard line, and the first chance he'll have today to turn one back, and he still gets caught shy of the 20-yard line as he's dropped at about the 17 or 18. So this is where Hampton will go to work with their 5th possession of the afternoon, trailing 20-0.
You know, Hampton calls their team Operation Team. Well, today, Operation Team is getting dissected, and they might as well file for malpractice because they're getting beat up on in their own house.
Last year, it was theme building a tradition. And you look at the top 5 winningest active 1AA football coaches. Billy Joe, Florida A&M, is right up there. And a win today would give him career number 200. He's had only 4 losing seasons in 26 years, only 26 losses. And in the 90s, he has 87 wins in the decade of the 90s. So we had a penalty against Florida A&M, a late hit, unnecessary.
Now, Billy Joe is in there somewhere.
Roughness.
Doing his coaching. Now, I'm sure he loves doing it from there because of the simple fact you can't see what he's thinking. Well, you can't see what he's thinking anyway. But you can't tell because you can't see him.
So from their own 31-yard line is now where Hampton will go to work. First down and 10. Keeping the ball on the ground. Montrell Coley. Montrell skips a tackle. And he's finally tackled
Timothy
by Wendell
Frazier.
Ashley.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Watch it once again.
Montel Coley, number 4, getting some excellent yardage here. And this is why he's so effective and so important to this team. Wendell Ashley on the stop.
2nd and 1, a gain of 9 for Montrell Coley. Warren Broughton comes all the way down to the bottom of your screen, the near side. In the slot is Compton. And again, it's handed off and not much running room for Derek McElwain trying to get the first down. And he only gets back to the line of scrimmage. That is all for him. As Terrence Woodard was at the bottom of that pile out of Evans High in Orlando, Florida.
Anytime that you get off the ball when you're a defensive player, that's what's important. When you can get off that snap, you can get to the backfield. You can get and stop the receiver from going down, and that's exactly what happened here, where the running game was simply snuffed by the defense.
3rd down and 2. Roy Johnson has his team set. Mike Jones, the up back in the eye. McElwain is the man in motion. They go with a counter play to the left side. Mike Jones stood up at the line of scrimmage, and he will not get there. He was stood up there by Corey Johnson, number 54, out of Killian High in Miami, who replaced Ulrich Johnson, if you could do that, the man who was the leading tackler on this team a year ago.
You know, Corey had a little bit of help, but I tell you what, man, anytime you can bring the whole gang to the party like that, it's time to celebrate.
They're going to measure. See what happens here. Talking about Joe Taylor, who's had a tremendous amount of success here at Hampton University. He had previous stints at Howard University and Virginia Union as the head coach. Before coming here, has a record of 129, 48, and 4 as a head coach, which equals out to 71%. In fact, he took Virginia Union to 3 NCAA playoffs, 1 CIAA title, and 1 Northern Division title. And he took Hampton to the CIAA championship 3 times, 92, 93, and 94. And in the decade of the 90s, he is 85, 24, and 1. Only 1 losing season, his 2nd year here at Hampton, in which his team went 5 and 6. But he's faced with the 3rd down and inches, a 4th down actually, and they're going to punt it away. Tellis Bolden. And he's going to be kicking to Vernon Mitchell. Good kick. Vernon Mitchell retreats all the way back to about his 12-yard line. Sidesteps one man. Tripped down before he could get far by Lawrence Smith out of Montclair, New Jersey. And we'll be back. We're in the 2nd quarter here, and we're in Hampton. But they trail it 20-0. Well, this season, Florida A&M has not been involved in a game where the winning team scored less than 40 points. Against MEAC teams this year, the Rattlers are averaging 59.5 points per contest. And that equals a lot of wins. We're in the 2nd quarter. We do not have an exact time on the clock. I don't know exactly because the stadium clock is not working properly. But we do know we're in the 2nd quarter, and we know it's 20-0 Florida A&M, and they have the ball 1st down and 10. And they keep the ball on the ground with Kenny Williams, and Ken Williams rattles forward for another 1st down. This drive again starting at about their own 18-yard line.
You know, Kenny Williams is becoming such an integral factor in the play here. 63 carries and 6 touchdowns so far this season, and he's averaging almost 5.2 yards per carry. All the information you want to know on the MEAC, all you got to do is go to MEACsports.com. I do. And find out about the basketball season that's coming up, who's on top, who should win. It's going to be interesting just to see. I want you to visit it, MEACsports.com.
Kenny Williams on the carry once again. Dion Hunt and Michael Bland combined to trip him up after a gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Kenny Williams out of Lake Clifton High in Baltimore. This is a young man who has not been tackled for a loss this season. Came into the game with 63 attempts, and that's an amazing stat in itself.
You know, I saw that, and I said the same thing. As soon as I read it, I said, that's incredible. Once again,
Kanan Lamb,
but it's once again what we've been seeing and what I've talked about the entire game. It's what they do once they catch the football. Kanan Lamb, watch him, number 4. Once again, he catches catches the football. Sure, we've got him tackled. No, you don't, Mr. Spate. You can't grab on me. You got to stop my legs. That's what will bring me down if you stop my legs. And you know what? Finally, he figured it out. Criminal justice major, not a bad guy at all.
And it's first down and 10 for FAMU. Again, Sider wants to put it in the air. Looking down the sideline. And Jacque Nunley, even though it was hit late out of bounds by Kurt Blackwell, no flag, and Nunley. But you got to do that, because if you don't hit him, he might turn it upfield and go for 6 on you.
If you've learned your lesson in this game, you've got to stop those receivers. It's been Lamb. It's been Nunley. You know, Charlie, you talk about the hamstring. Man, if I ever had a hammy and could run as well as Nunley is running right now, I'd have a hammy every day.
First down and 10 across midfield into Hampton territory. At the 42-yard line are the Rattlers of Florida A&M. Sider with plenty of time, under pressure, steps away, has some running room, decides to throw in the middle of the field, but he didn't get good velocity on the football. Had he decided to keep it and run, he had a wide open field in front of him.
Well, you know what? When you move in on the run like that, and Sider was able to elude the tackles, he's a strong guy. Watch him. Big guy comes right through him. You don't have me. He's like a snake, man, out there in Florida. And you know what? He decided he was going to go ahead and throw that ball into the dirt. He knew he couldn't find his receiver on the run like that, and it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
Vaughn Sider started his college career in West Virginia. Said they want him to play linebacker. That's why he decided to get out of there. Now he calls a timeout. So Florida A&M spends one of its 3 first-half timeouts. 8:12 is the time remaining, according to our hand clock that we are keeping in the truck. The Sheraton Norfolk Waterside Hotel has teamed up with Broadway at Chrysler Hall for their fun-filled experience now.
All right, we've had a great time there at the Sheraton Waterside in Norfolk. Stayed there 3 times in the last 4 weeks.
Yes, indeed. Some of the crowd on hand here. This Hampton University team, they're glad to be. Just about every seat is filled here. They've done a great job, as we look at it, in the left end zone of doing new coaches' offices and meeting rooms for the teams. They remodeled this stadium. Bill Harvey done a great job of putting money into this athletic program, as Dr. Humphreys down at Florida A&M. 2 of the premier black college athletic programs in the nation.
And the reason why is because they get tremendous support from the alumni and from those in the community. And that's what it's all about, reaching out. You know, I've had a great stay here at Hampton. The people here have been just awesome when you talk about hospitality. Anytime you got a kid, come on to an MEAC school. We'd love to have you.
Second down and 10 for Florida A&M. After the timeout, 8:32 remaining. Here's Sider, short drop, throws, Kanan Lamb, and he gets about 5 yards before he is run out of bounds by Corey Cason. There's a sign in front of as you look at Joe Taylor and John Wright, and we'll look at this play, but there's a sign on the quick out to Kanan Lamb in front of the FAMU bleachers. It says the marching 100 is not here, but the alumni, the Northeast Association, we are here. So they do come out and support their teams. Okay, you got us, Northeast alumni. Go, go, go. There it is.
I wonder if anyone on the alumni from the Northeast play anything.
There is a timeout, this one called by Hampton University. So each team has spent a timeout here in the second quarter. 8:27 remaining in the first half. Some fabulous camera work by our crew. Way high in the breezy trees. And there's Mo Brown. Hey, Mo.
Mo Brown is so much better. Come on, Mo. Holla at me, Mo. Over here. There you go. Way to represent.
Mo doing a great job up there here at Hampton University.
Now, I'm going to tell you a true story. This happened last week in Cleveland. It has nothing to do with this game. We do a pre- and post-game show. Guy gets on camera. Guess what? He's a wanted felon. Hour after the show, they come to pick him up. Mo, you're not a wanted felon, are you?
You hired the guy. And And this ball is tipped. Jacqueline Nunley, the intended receiver, and he was covered by Travis Coleman. And it goes incomplete, bringing up a 4th down situation. So this is the first time today that Florida A&M has touched the ball and have not scored. Their first possession was a field goal of 20 yards. Second possession, a 21-yard field goal. Third possession, Sider 30-yard pass to Canaan Lamb. And their fourth possession, Sider a 13-yard pass to Nunley. So they're going to punt this one away from the Hampton University 39-yard line.
Think about the story I told you. It was a fan in the stand we happened to be interviewing.
And this one heading for the coffin corner, as you might say, as T.J. Smith tried to get it out of bounds, and it'll be marked up, maybe at about the 15. Let's see. Maybe even a little further. Make it to 12, a 13-yard line. So that's where Hampton will go to work. First down and 10. It'll be the 6th possession for them in the first half. 8:17 the time remaining. As you look at T.J. Smith out of Columbia, Maryland. And that's not T.J., but at the end of the game, we will select our U.S. Marine Corps players of the game. First down and 10. Hampton University trailing in this ball game 20-0. Eric McElwain is the man in motion. Johnson hands off. Mike Jones trying to turn the corner. Nothing doing for him as Corey Johnson came up to make the stop.
How important is it for Hampton to score in this series? They need to. And they need to start to generate offense. Right now, there's no room for him to move. And when there's no room, that means the defense is doing its job.
And they ran it to the short side of the field. The ball is resting on the right hash mark for Hampton University. As you look at Troy Johnson, team is 28-12 when he starts throughout his career. So he's had a pretty successful career at quarterback here at Hampton. And he gives off this time to McElwain. McElwain going straight ahead out across the 15 to about the 17, 18-yard line. Will still be short by about 5.
They've got to advance the ball downfield, and the best way to do it right now for Hampton is the way they do it all the time. They earn it through the yards, pounding the ball up the middle, down the side. And Aaron Gray with the stop. You see him there, 6'3", 198 pounds.
Up back in the eye. This time is Mike Jones. McElwain, the second back. Back to pass is Johnson on 3rd down. Throws, and it's incomplete. No flags. Yes, a late flag coming in from the field judge, Avery Fields, and it looked like Wendell Ashley, or was that Vernon Mitchell? Vernon Mitchell.
Vernon Mitchell getting very aggressive here, and as you can see, Johnson going back. He finds his receiver. He says, well, can I get him? Can I find him? Oh, he finds him all right, but when he does, that was a bad move.
Zuriel Smith, the intended receiver, so we're going to get interference against FAMU.
Yeah, pass interference against the defense. This is a spot foul and automatic first down.
So from the spot of the interference, it gives Hampton new life. They pick up a first down and 10. Zuriel Smith, as you look at Joe Taylor, trying to solve the riddle of his offense not being able to move against FAMU. FAMU, they've done a pretty good job defensively against it. It's a matter of, because the first 2 times they forced him into field goal situations, but they've not been able to penetrate beyond midfield but 1 time this afternoon. Roy Johnson throws, has it to Zuriel Smith. He has a first down, and he's finally brought down. And the same gentleman really laid leather to him, and that was Vernon Mitchell after he was stood up by a couple of friends. Watch Zuriel at the end of this play.
You know, the reason I love this is because our camera angle is a great one. As you can see, Roy Johnson finds Zuriel Smith, and watch number 31 coming to your screen, and he finishes off the job, Mr. Maxwell.
Leather on leather, mano y mano, 1st and 10. As you look at Vernon Mitchell. out of Miami, Florida. Earning from Central High down there. Preseason all MEAC selection, and now a timeout being called by Roy Johnson as they move the ball up across the 30 to the 31-yard line. But we're going to take one here as Roy Johnson and Joe Taylor talk things over. 20-0 FAMU.
The Marines.
20-0 is our score. 6:21 remaining here in the second quarter, and coming up at halftime, Ronnie Duncan spent some time with President Bill Harvey while here on the campus of Hampton University, and we'll have a little feature on a museum that he's very proud of and a fundraising effort that they have going on. That's on our USPS halftime report. Stay with us for that. $100 million campaign being undertaken by Hampton University, a fundraiser. So if you got $1, that'll be $1 less than they'll have to raise.
I know you have more dollars than me, so I'll give him my $1.
Here's the pitch to Derek McElwain. They're trying to reverse. And let's see, they get a block, but not much running room for Warren Broughton, and he loses yards. They call a timeout, and they lose yards from the 31 all the way back inside the 25.
Charlie,
that
play took too long to develop, simply. I mean, everybody
stayed home. The defense stayed home.
Absolutely.
That was the key.
The defense stayed home. They maintained their position, and you can see here, this play takes too long to develop, and anytime you can bring that much attention to the play, you're going to have that many defenders bringing you down.
So it'll bring up a second down. A lot of help. A lot of white jerseys around the football. Second down after the loss of about 7. Second and 17. Johnson back to pass. Throws and is batted in the air. Intercepted. Florida A&M on the return. Wendell Ashley. Touchdown. FAMU and a flag.
Wendell Ashley has his helmet off now, but man, he had his thinking cap on that series. And as you can see the sign, we love FAMU, and the reason why they come up with the big plays. Roy Johnson back to pass right into the hands of number 11. And this time he takes it in the end zone, and it's all good.
It's his second interception of the year. The previous interception went back for 57 yards. This one for 20. Personal foul against Hampton. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike against FAMU. And that's the second time today that Hampton has been intercepted. The first one resulted in a field goal. This one results in a touchdown. So 2 turnovers have resulted in possibly 10 points. We know 9 right now for FAMU. And then Jeremy Edwards is in for the point after. But more importantly,
we have a dead ball, personal foul, late hit against the blue. We have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike. He took his helmet off against the white. Penalty offset. We will try from the 3.
So Fleeman Williams making sure that the crowd understands. And that's one of the things Johnny Greer has brought to the MEAC, making sure that the referee, when they're mic'd, lets the people in the stadium know exactly what's going on in the field. The referee standpoint, Edwards, the left-footed kicker, he is perfect today, and Jeremy Edwards makes it a 27-0 ball game. And let's look again at the touchdown by Wendell Ashley.
Wendell Ashley just simply Johnny on the spot. He jumps up high enough, catches the ball, and he sees nothing but the end zone. 20-plus yards, and he makes the move. You can tell he's been to the end zone sometime in his life. But you know what? He takes that helmet off, and he says, I'm a bad man. No one can stop me.
I don't know if he took it off or if it fell off when he hit the ground. But the referee, the official on the spot, said that he took it off.
You know, anytime you're that athletic as Wendell Ashley is, you can do things like that. He took the gamble, made the move, and it worked out just well for him. See if we can see him taking off his helmet here. Did it fall off? Nah, it didn't fall off. Oh, it did.
It did come off.
It did fall off.
I thought that's what happened. I did not see him take it off. It fell off as he was going down. So the official, seeing the helmet off, assumed that he took it off.
You know what? I thought he had taken it off, too. I thought it was one of those old Joey Galloway moves when he was at Ohio State. Something he would do quite often. As a matter of fact, brought attention to the officials, and they made a ruling on it. Don't take your helmet off. As a matter of fact, anytime you play Pop Warner football and in Little League football, you can't take your helmet off until the end of the game.
Well, that's one that FAMU will have get back, although fortunately there was an unsportsmanlike, a personal foul against Hampton, so it really wouldn't matter. It's an offsetting penalty situation. So Hampton University really in a hole now. 2 interceptions in the ball game by Roy Johnson. And coming into the ball game, Roy Johnson had thrown more interceptions than he had touchdowns. 7 interceptions to 6 touchdowns. And you cannot have those type of stats coming in.
Hey, those are the kind of stats that can make you go crazy. And you talk about bad decisions. Roy has made some bad decisions throwing into coverage. You know, he thought he could go over the top, but anytime you have an athletic guy like a Wendell Ashley who can jump very high, that's going to happen. And this guy right now, and I'm talking about Joe Taylor, is saying to himself, look, we've got to get back. You know, there's a problem I have in watching Roy Johnson's helmet. It looks like it's too big on his head, the way it lands down. I don't see where I can see his eyes, and I'm wondering how much of the field he can see, whether or not that helmet disturbs his vision.
Well, he's been playing with it since his inception here.
Take a look at this helmet.
University.
Take a look at this helmet and where this guy has this helmet at and where it hits his eyes. He has to wear it, but apparently it may not be as effective. Look at that. Can he see through it? He may not can see all the way downfield. I noticed it last week. I didn't say anything. I said, well, he's comfortable with it. He can play with it.
That's all that matters.
Hey, look, apparently he's got more interceptions than touchdowns. Something ain't going right. Maybe the helmet could help if he can see more.
Second down and about 4, and Karima Mayer, nothing doing for him, loses maybe a half a yard. Karima Mayer on the carry, and he is brought down by Othello Vaughn. And it'll bring up a 3rd down. We'll call it 7. And working from the shotgun this time will be Roy Johnson. Throws Warren Broughton at midfield. 1st down into FAMU territory. Warren Broughton out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, came into the game with a pair of touchdowns, 17 receptions, has over 1,000 yards, career receptions, and 11 touchdowns.
I guess there's nothing wrong with the helmet on this play. He was able to see Warren Broughton.
That's what I'm saying. If it's all right for him, it's all right for me.
Hey, I'm not argue. I'm trying to help him out just a little bit, okay?
Back to pass again. Roy Johnson, team down 27-0. Just throws this one up there, and a flag is down at about the 35-yard line, the 30-yard line. Let's see what the flag is about. Maybe we have holding on a defensive player.
Anytime you have a flag in that area, that's exactly what the play is.
We'll wait and see. They're discussing it. They're going to wave it off.
Disregard the flag. Disregard the flag. I'm a shot.
3:57 the time remaining, or 3:55 as we see there, is the time remaining in the first half of play. 27-0. Ashley with a 20-yard interception. Sider with a pair of touchdown passes. And a couple of field goals by Jeremy Edwards. And that's been the scoring for the Rattlers of Florida A&M.
In the second quarter.
Second down, 10 yards to go for the Pirates of Hampton University. The ball right at the midfield stripe. Roy Johnson out of Redan High in Stone Mountain, Georgia. 6th in the conference in passing efficiency. 2nd in pass yards per game. Back to pass again. Throws incomplete, trying to hit Broughton, but got a little bit carried away, and Darnell Vickers is jumping up and down saying, maybe the ball hit his hand, a finger or something. Maybe he just hit a finger the way he was jumping there. But I think he was saying that maybe if I'd have been playing it a little differently, I might have been able to pick this one off.
Right now, I'd like to see Johnson go to just more than one receiver. Sure, he's looking him off, but he's going to Broughton.
That's what happened at his fingers.
Most definitely did hit his fingers. But he's going to Broughton one time too many. And obviously the defense is keying in on that.
He has Uriel Smith. He has Compton. He has his tight end in there.
He has yet to go to today.
Right.
Weidman is a big target. Why not use him?
Lloyd Johnson under pressure. And we have an incomplete pass on the near sideline as Johnson was running for his life. He was really being chased
Coach
by
Taylor
Tyron
made a nice
Johnson.
block, though. Coach Taylor almost got into the game.
I'll tell you, it can get dangerous standing on that sideline.
Johnson can be pretty elusive, but then again, you have to wonder about the decisions that he makes.
He was chased by his brother Johnson, Tyron.
Tyron loves the quarterback, but there's no brotherly love around here for that. Look at that nice hit. One of the coaches got wiped out.
So a fourth down punting situation and a good kick away for Tellis Bolden. And on the return, here comes Vernon Mitchell. And Vernon will run out of bounds right at about the 20-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10, FAMU, with 3:30 remaining here in the first half and leading by a score of 27-0. This Hampton University team has a lot of pressure, and I talked to Joe Taylor yesterday. I said, we know that this is for the championship. Who's the pressure on? More on FAMU or more on Hampton University? He said, when you look at it, we can't afford another loss. Florida A&M could, still with A&T coming up on the schedule. And that's why this game is so important for both of these teams today, especially for the Hampton Pirates. They can ill afford to take another loss. Ken Williams on the carry. You know, you have some other games today that are very, very important in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Ronnie Howard's at A&T. That's A&T's homecoming. Morgan at Delaware State. Del State has only lost one game in the conference. Norfolk State, of course, is at Virginia Union. But a win by Del State, Howard, and Hampton today would force a four-way tie in the conference for the top spot between A&T, FAMU, Hampton, and Delaware State. But right now, it's 27-0 Florida A&M in this contest. Sider. And it's complete. A diving catch made for first down up across the 30 by Cedric Mitchell.
Cedric Mitchell, one of the receivers in which we haven't mentioned today, but one of the many receivers that they have for the Rattlers of FAMU. And what I like about Sider is a simple fact that he is able to find his receivers. And I love what they do once they catch the ball. Always trying to make a move. That time, Mitchell on a diving catch.
I mentioned to Joe Taylor yesterday, I said, last year when you beat Florida A&M, you caught them on the first game of the year. They hadn't decided on who their quarterback was going to be. In fact, they played three different quarterbacks in that game. They finally settled on Pat Bonner before the year was over. He says, well, they really haven't settled on a quarterback this year, to be honest with you, because they have played both Quinn Gray and also Jawan Sider. But Sider has been getting the call as of late. Got a little rattle against Howard University a couple of weeks ago. Coach had to sit him down, and I talked to Jawan about it this morning, and he said, hey, they were sticking their fingers in my helmet and my eyes and everything else, but one time I can't see. Coach Joe says, sometimes you just have to close that one eye and play blind. It is second down and 13 yards to go. Under 2 minutes to go in the first half here. Sider taking his time. Short drop, throws in and out of the hands. They call it an incomplete. Good hit put on Jacque Nunley. And the man who made the stop hit was Vincent Lewis out of Moorhaven, Florida. So he's a Florida kid hitting a Florida kid.
Tell you what, this is excellent defense, and you will see it right here. Nice hit after the catch, and why not? Vincent Lewis knew that Jacque Nunley has done some exceptional things once he catches the football. This time he wanted to make sure he wouldn't catch it.
Good timing hit by Vince Lewis on third down and long. Sider stands in there, but nothing doing. He decides to take off and run, but he's not going to get far as he was hit by Stanley Autry.
Deion Hunt in there on the tackle as well. Number 46, the big-time linebacker and the All-America candidate for the Pirates of Hampton.
So it's a penalty flag down. Let's see what this one is all about. Florida A&M came into the game averaging 80 yards per game in penalties. This one's going to go against Hampton, and it's a big one. A 15-yarder, so that should be enough to give FAMU new life and a first down up at about the 44-yard line.
If you're the Pirates of Hampton University.
Personal foul, face mask, he twists the mask against the defense. 15-yard penalty and an automatic.
All right, 15-yard penalty.
Twisting the face mask. Hampton came in averaging 67 yards in penalties per contest, and not something you want to do is give FAMU any kind of breaks, especially when you're trailing 27-0 with penalties such as that. First down and 10 with 1:28 to go and the clock running. Sider standing in there, short drop, takes off, runs around the right side, pulls up, throws, has it complete to Kanan Lamb, and he's finally stopped by Kason, but not before he picks up a first down all the way down inside the 40 to about the 35-yard line.
Charlie, what I was about to say is that Hampton can ill afford to let the Rattlers of FAMU score again, because if they do, they will be all over you in the second half. A lot of people thought this would be a close game, but it is turning out to be a blowout, all for the Rattlers. And look at those numbers so far. 12 of 21, 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's pretty awesome. I know a lot of guys that would take those halftime stats for a complete game and go home.
Cedric Mitchell on the reception, only a gain of about 1 before he stopped by Rashad Mouye out of Westlake High in Atlanta.
On the reception, Rashad Mouye.
A lot of people are wondering whether a guy like Sider can play on the next level, depending on where he's picked up and if he's given an opportunity and a good look. Let's face it, he can do a lot of things with the football.
So now, again, I believe this was a timeout being called by Hampton University. Let's see. No, this is FAMU's timeout. So they have spent 2, and they have 1 remaining with about 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining.
1 minute and 11 seconds left.
There you've got your quarterback.
Here he is.
Ron Sider. No, he does not have an extra gut. That just happens to be something wrapped around his ribs to protect that rib cage.
Jimmy Joe, the man who's talking to him, that's the younger brother of Billy Joe, who played his collegiate ball at Morgan State. Jimmy Joe is quite an athlete in his own right, and he's the offensive coordinator for Billy Joe. There's Jawan Sider getting him some FaceTime on TV. That's one way you can take your helmet off and not get penalized. I always kid Jawan about that. You know, one of the things that is the other impressive thing about the Florida A&M offense and the quarterback, they've thrown only 5 interceptions this year. They've thrown 21 touchdown passes, and 3 of those interceptions came against Howard University in 1 game.
And came against a pressuring defense, and you would think that Joe Taylor looked at the tapes of the Howard game and recognized some of the things that Howard did extremely well. They put tremendous pressure on Sider.
Not only did they put tremendous pressure on him, they did a good job of going to the ball and covering the receivers, as they did that particular time on Jacques Nunley after he made the catch.
The guy catch a lot of heat in that game, if I can recall, was Omar Evans. And Omar Evans played extremely well in a losing cause. That was an exciting game, perhaps the most exciting game we've done so far this season.
3rd down and about 5 for Florida A&M. Sider stands there, throws short, pops it to Cedric Mitchell. He's had a couple, 3 of those short hop jobs today that bounced on the ground. That'll bring up a 4th down, 41 seconds to go, and they're going to keep the ball. They're going to go for it on 4th and about 5, I guess. Well, maybe they're not. I
can tell by that reaction. Sider knew they weren't going to go for it.
No, they're going to bring on Jeremy Edwards, and Jeremy Edwards, who is pretty nimble as far as field goal kicking is concerned, will try a 46-yard field goal attempt. The longest he's hit this year is 37. He hit a big overtime or field goal against Howard to send the game to overtime. It is long enough, but it is no good. And maybe it wasn't long enough. It looked like it dropped maybe just a little bit short of the goal line. So the 30 or 46-yard field goal attempt, no good. And that'll give Hampton the ball with 40 seconds to go in the first half at their own 31-yard line. 40 seconds to go. Let's go down to Greg Willis along the sideline.
What
Greg?
are we doing? Thanks, Charlie. I'm down here on the sideline, and we've been trying to figure out exactly some of the new facades here on the campus of Hampton University. As you can see, they've done a total renovation to their stadium. It now has a brick facade. They still have the aluminum seating, but I've noticed even up here on the home side, they have benches where they've personalized some of the seats, and they have the names of persons there. Back to you, Charlie.
And those persons' names are the boosters. And that's how they acknowledge them. They have their own name on their own seats here in Armstrong Field. Johnson throws incomplete. He's trying to make sure he didn't get sacked. He was making sure he didn't have an intentional grounding call, but he also had to make sure he didn't get intercepted. So he had a lot of things going for him or against him all at the same time.
I tell you what, he's going to hear a whole lot about what he's done wrong at halftime, as well as the entire offensive unit. The defense has not had an opportunity to rest. They knew coming into this game that they would be backpedaling. They knew that FAMU would throw the ball. And then when you consider how pounding Ken Williams has been, number 31, of rushing the ball right down the gut, be it the draw play, FAMU came with a complete offense, 59 points a game in conference play, and that's why they're undefeated and so good.
Well, when you have a young man like Roy Johnson, you have to sometimes get into his head. Let's listen to our referee.
In motion against the offense, the receiver turned up the field too early. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
Once again, another penalty.
And one of the things that Coach Taylor was saying, we were kind of kidding him last week about how Minnesota's coach has gotten into Randall Cunningham. He said you can't do the same thing with a young man that you can do with a guy who's making a whole bunch of money. You got to be a little more sensitive in how you approach him, as that pass went in and out of the hands of Warren Broughton. It's going to be interesting to see what strategies and adjustments Hampton makes at halftime, because even though they're down 27-0, we haven't had any blowout games this year. We've had a couple games where we've thought these teams were out of it, and they've come back in the second half and made a game out of it. So I'm sure Hampton has a lot of pride. They're playing at home. First time they've been here since Labor Day. They don't want to walk away with a blowout in this particular contest. Here's a draw play, maybe the last play of the first half, and they keep the ball on the ground, and that was Karima Mayer with the carry. So the time has not ended the first half. I think they stopped the clock. Well, it is halftime. So as they go into the locker room, it is 27-0. Again, in case you just joined us, to recap this scoring, Jeremy Edwards, a 20-yard field goal, made it 3-0 with 1:27 left in the first quarter. And about 6 minutes later, Edwards hit another field goal to make it 21, make that 6-0. That was a 21-yard field goal. That first field goal, or the second one I should say, was a result of an interception by Florida A&M. And then Jerome Sider went to work passing to Kanan Lamb, 30 yards. That made it 13-0. Sider's 13-yard pass to Jacque Nunley made it 20-0. And then Ashley returned an interception 20 yards to make it 27-0. And that's how it stands here at halftime. 27-0. FAMU trying to make it 5-0 in the conference. We'll be back to Hampton in a moment. The USPS halftime report, and we're at halftime here at Hampton University, where Florida A&M is leading by a score of 27-0. Let's spend a few moments and go down on the sideline and listen to the Hampton University Marching Force Band. University marching force. You know, Hampton University is one of the newest members of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and they've long been known for their academic excellence. Well, recently, they've undertaken a capital gains investment fundraiser, and our Ronnie Duncan had an opportunity to spend some time with their president, Dr. Bill Harvey, talking about this latest endeavor.
When you talk about this fine institution, you've got a drive going on here that is so unique, and obviously you have goals that you want to reach. Tell us more about it. There are a lot of people who don't know about it. Tell us about it.
Well, there are so many wonderful things that are going on here at Hampton University, and what we're trying to do is to make a great university even greater. So we're dreaming no small dreams. We have a $200 million campaign. Thus far, we've raised about $134 million. We kicked off back in August, of October of last year with $110 million, and we've raised a little bit more than that now. And as I said, we are trying to make a great university greater. We are probably one of the most wired schools in the country today, but technology is a big aspect of this, curriculum enhancement. We're looking at student scholarships, academic professorships, our museum, which is world class. All of these things will get the attention of the $200 million.
You talk about all the things that you're so proud of in this university. Another has to be your quarterback. Not only is he a good football player, but he's a great student. He's going for his master's degree.
I'm very proud of Roy. I'm also proud of our athletic program, because what we truly have here are student athletes. We don't have a football factory. We don't have, as some schools do. Kids here have to get their lesson, they have to study, and yet they have to perform on the field. And they are doing that. If you look at a young man like Roy, Roy is studying on for his master's degree, yet he's our starting quarterback, and he's doing well. Well, what we're very much interested in is making quality young men and young women. And the fact is that athletics can help that. But for us, if they're a good athlete and are sorry men and women, then they are failures. Now, if they are wonderful young men and women making a contribution to society, then that's what Hampton is all about.
You talk about so many fine things you can see here at Hampton University. Another is your museum. I've never seen it, but for those who haven't, why should we?
Well, I hope that you will get a chance to see it, because it really is a world-class museum. It is arguably the best African and African-American museum in the country. And we are not just a new museum. We started this, John Armstrong started this museum in 1868 when he founded the institution. And if you look at our holdings, they truly are world class. You've got some African-American museums that don't have the quality or the quantity of holdings that we have. Ours are truly world-class, and we've held them for a long, long time. And if you have an opportunity, even if it's only 10 minutes, just go in. Look at our 19th century gallery, for example. Just terrific, terrific kinds of things. My wife and I have been collecting African-American art for 30 years, so I know what I'm talking about when I say that.
So just by looking at the museum, you can tell that's why Hampton is all that and part of the MEAC. I'm Ronnie Duncan reporting.
Please featuring the flag here, Silky.
We're at the halftime here, and it's the USPS halftime report on MEAC College Football Saturday. 27-0 is our halftime score here at Hampton University, as Florida A&M has a 27-0 edge over the Pirates. Charlie Neal along with Ronnie Duncan here at halftime. And Ronnie, you look at that first half, Hampton really didn't show up. Florida A&M probably could have gotten some more points on the board. They had to settle for a couple of field goals. Your thoughts?
Jeremy Edwards got it off going early. You got to look at it. 27-0. That's outscored halftime. And let's go quickly to the highlights, because in the first half, Jerry Edmonds was, of course, didn't miss the highlight. Watch him here for a field goal. And before you knew it, Hampton was saying, we are trailing in this football game. One of the reasons why, Mr. Sider. And this time he goes to Kenyon Lamb. Lamb with a touchdown, and it's a beautiful one right there. He goes into the end zone. It's what he does with the football after he gets there. Before you knew it, there was more to be happy for, because there was some good hitting in this football game. Watch him here. I'm talking number 31, Wendell Ashley, with the great play, and it was a tremendous play. And then, of course, you see him here coming through with the interception, and you know what? His helmet came off. But, you know, the highlights of this game also were some good defense. Watch Wendell right here. And and he gets a little help from some of his friends. I'm talking Jeremy Edwards, who's there as well, and Vernon Mitchell. But when you talk about great plays, there he is, Jacquay Nunley, and that's why we have a score of 27-0.
And we'll be back with more of our USPS halftime report in just a moment. The Rattlers on top by a big score.
Just a bit of magic.
27-0 our halftime score. Florida A&M over Hampton University. Third quarter coming up. Charlie Neal and Ronnie Duncan here. And first of all, we'd like to thank Walt Walker and LeCount Conaway of Hampton University for that fine assistance on that piece with Dr. Harvey and the museum and everything here on the campus of Hampton University.
Most definitely, these guys have definitely been toward our aid here at Fosstone Productions as well as the MEAC, and we thank you for it. But now let's take a look at some of these halftime stats, because that's where the tail of the tape of this game can definitely be seen, especially when you take a look at it in time of possession. It may scare you. Hampton has had it more, 17.36. FAMU 12.24. However, when you look at the total yards, it's all about the Rattlers of FAMU. 82 rushing, 184 passing, no turnovers in Hampton, 2 crucial turnovers that resulted in 2 big-time scores.
Our Bank of America halftime stats. There you see the time of possession in favor of Hampton, but they trail 27-0. Another exciting season of MEAC football is upon us. It's college football at its best, with hard-hitting, non-stop action. From Tallahassee, Florida to Washington, D.C., MEAC football in 1999 will keep you on the edge of your seat with the stars of tomorrow today. The MEAC invites you to join us next week in Daytona Beach as the Aggies of North Carolina A&T travel south to take on the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. Last year, Bethune knocked the Aggies out of the Heritage Bowl. Will the Aggies get revenge? Find out by checking your local listings for time and station.
Travel provided by U.S. Airways, offering the Dividend Miles program with preferred levels of membership and benefits. With U.S. Airways, you can redeem your miles to over 500 destinations worldwide.
27-0, the Rattlers of Florida A&M enjoying the advantage over the Pirates of Hampton. Can the Pirates reverse the tide? We'll find out as the third quarter is upcoming here from Armstrong Stadium.
Bob Bell Ford is Baltimore's #1 Ford dealer. Thousands of loyal customers have made their car, truck, van, or used vehicle purchases from Bob Bell Ford. Because of my low price guarantee, my competitive finance rates, great rebates, and huge discounts. You know you'll get the best price in the metro area because I'll beat any advertised price. Bring us the ad, and we'll beat the price.
Bob Bell Ford, Route 2, Ritchie Highway, Glen Burnie.
I'm Bob Bell, and I am the lowest guy in town.
Joe Taylor, your team's down 27-0. What kind of things have you talked about at halftime to make the adjustments to make this a competitive game?
Well, the key of it is our defense, I think, is standing on the field much too much. Offensively, we're not executing. That's what it comes down to. It's just, the intensity that we need. If you take away 3 plays and 2 interceptions and the 4th down where we don't get the first down, and, our defense is not on the field as much. We just told the offense, we got to get out of our plan a little bit in terms of running, maybe throw more. But we got to keep our defense off the field so much.
Let's hope the second half is better for you.
Thank you so much.
Back up to you, Charlie.
All right, thank you very much. As we start the second half, this kickoff is going to come down to Travian Turner. And Travian Turner stepped out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. So that's where, or 8-yard line, that's where Florida A&M will get the ball to start the second half. Will he throw more in the second half? He says we're going to have to open it up. We're going to have to change our game plan a little bit. Okay? Let's look at our U.S. Airways quarterback comparison. Sider against Roy Johnson. Sider, 14 of 24, 184 yards, a pair of touchdowns, has not been an interception. Roy Johnson, 2 of 11. Not good stats. Only 64 yards, no touchdowns. He's been intercepted twice, leading to a field goal and a touchdown. 1st and 10. From their own 7-yard line, goes FAMU. Sider still running the offense for Billy Joe. And they keep the ball on the ground. Now, they're not a team that's going to be too conservative and sit on the football and, try to run out the clock and all of those types of things, because you never know what the other team's game plan is going to be. Let's look at our rushing leaders for the first half. Ken Williams, 47 yards for FAMU. Sider, 35. And Williams, 8 carries for 47 yards. I don't believe I don't remember Travis Williams playing and running the ball in the first half. Do you? Well, he's here, but I don't remember him running it. In fact, they've only run one running back in the first half, and that is Kenny Williams. On third down and short, here's the quarterback, and he looks like he may have enough for the first down.
Snyder. All the quarterback keepers. First down on the Rattlers.
First down and 10, FAMU. You see the right guard Agnew pulling to try to help on that trap on that running play. First down and 10. Sider throws. Cedric Mitchell has it. Tried to get away from, but could not elude Kieran Spate, who was right there to bring him down.
The nickel packages are playing a whole lot better in the second half, and you can see it initially for the Pirates of Hampton. And the reason why too many big plays were being made by the secondary, the secondary was giving up too many big plays, and too many big plays were being made by the wide receivers of FAMU.
A gain of maybe close to 2 yards on the play. It'll be second down and 8. We're just getting underway here in the third quarter. FAMU leading the football game, and they keep it again with Ken Williams on the carry.
Once
Big
again,
fullback.
you've got nothing but great receivers out there, and they're going to force FAMU to rush the football. They're going to force them to put it up the gut because every receiver is being covered. And as you said, Sider has no interceptions. He doesn't want to throw one down.
Third down and about 4 yards to go for Florida A&M. Ken Williams, 1,700 career yards. And this one is incomplete. Could not get it to the intended receiver. That was Charlie Allen, the wide receiver. So a stop for Hampton University. Something that they needed. Maybe a shot in the arm for them right now as they turn back the Rattlers of Florida A&M at the 27-yard line. They'll punt it away. T.J. Stallings to do the punting. A correction, T.J. Smith, correction, on the punting team for FAMU. And he gets off a pretty good high kick. This one being run down by Travis Coleman. He picks it up at about the 31-yard line, reverses his field, and they say he stepped out of bounds. So Travis Coleman steps out of bounds right at about the 25-yard line, and that's where Hampton University Pirates, trailing in this ball game, will go to work. You're talking about fullback Kenny Williams, 8th all-time at Florida A&M. The leading all-time rusher at Florida A&M is Willie Gallimore. Remember him, a college football Hall of Famer and Chicago Bear, 4-time All-America, another Olympic gold medalist that came out of there. Bob Hayes played with the Dallas Cowboys. And then on the tennis side, and this is a school, Hampton, that's got the Screen Tennis Center right behind on the far side of the field. Very well known for collegiate tennis. Althea Gibson went to Florida A&M as Mike Jones carries the mail for first down up across the 35 to the 36-yard line. So, Althea Gibson won the Wimbledon and she won the U.S. Open.
Back in 1958, did a fine job in doing so. But once again, you got to wonder whether Hampton is going to open things up, and obviously they're going to try to get things going with their running game.
Back to pass. Roy Johnson throws, has it incomplete. He tried to hit Mike Compton, just let him a little bit too much. Mike laid out, but just couldn't bring it in out of Woodbridge High up in Woodbridge, Virginia, the northern part of the state. He was a first-team All-Stater in high school there.
Once again, Vernon Mitchell, number 31, there for the coverage and breaking up passes. And that's something you can talk about in reference to the defense of FAMU. They are playing a cover one, and anytime you see something like that, you know it's awesome. Look at that score right now. A&T leading Howard. It's the other way around. Howard leading A&T 28-0.
Delaware State leading Morgan 14-7. Now timeout's going to be called because I think there was some mix-up in the backfield between the fullback. That's Mike Jones and the quarterback. And Mike Jones is the one that signaled for the timeout. They didn't want to get a penalty for delay of game, and there was some mix-up in the play calling and the signals. But Howard University, we talked about how important what's going on. Howard has been an Achilles heel.
The timeout was called before the flag came out.
Has been an Achilles heel for Hampton, for North Carolina A&T. They have upset them a number of years on their homecoming, and this is homecoming in Greensboro today for the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. So a win by Florida A&M today, a loss by the Aggies, a win by Delaware State. Delaware State's right up there in second place. Florida A&M would be alone at the top of the leaderboard as far as the MEAC standings are concerned. So we'll see if that holds up. And Delaware State, of course, coming into the game, they're 2-1 in the conference. If they win, Hampton wins, that would be a four-way tie for the top spot. But Howard had to find itself somewhere down the line. Next week, we'll be down in Daytona Beach. 31-0 now. It is A&T over Howard.
That's what I thought. I thought it was the other way. I thought it was A&T leading right now, and that's the proper way. I mean, A&T, when you consider Mo Smith and that fine offensive unit there, they can do some tremendous things.
Here's Mike Jones on the reception, but caught from behind. Bringing him down was number 99 for the Rattlers of Florida A&M. And that is L.B. Parsons.
Third down.
Brings a third down situation, and Roy Johnson has got to get something off right now. And he's got to start moving this offensive unit downfield. It is quite obvious right now when you consider the defense that is being played, and they're playing in a nickel formation. The reason why they're now going with 4 wide receivers. But Johnson all in trouble right here. And yes,
incomplete. In and out of the hands of the intended tight end, Xavier Scott. And, of course, Roy was running for his life back there. But on the previous play, I thought he did a good job of selling the play. Ebby Parsons did a good job of chasing down Mike Jones from behind. But that'll bring up a 4th down nevertheless, a 4th and 10 punting situation.
After that last series, you got to wonder whether or not number 10, Atavius Cash, will be in the game. He is the backup quarterback to Roy Johnson. Johnson only completing 2 passes in the first half, and that's got to be a concern right now for Joe Taylor.
Not a good punt this time by Tellis Bolden. It went off the side of his foot. It didn't even go 10 yards. It's an 8, make it a 7-yard punt. It gets up to about the 43-yard line, and that is it. We'll be back. 27-0 FAMU.
1-800-231-2222 for information.
MEAC College Football Saturday is brought to you by Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service. The Marines, the few, the bright, the Marines. By National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. A year ago, Hampton University started the season with a win over the Rattlers of Florida A&M. But then Florida A&M won 11 straight games, including a 27-17 victory over Troy State in the first round of the 1AA playoffs. Wide open, Demetrius Bendros, touchdown, 43 yards. And Kiernan Spate beaten on the play for Hampton University. Touchdown Hampton. Of Florida A&M, correction.
Once again, a nice timing pattern play, and Spate was beaten. It was taken all the way down the field. It was speed on speed, and you can see it. Once again, the FAMU quarterback, Jawan Sider, watch him, finds a man wide open. Tell me you can't get any open than that.
43-yard pass, and this time Demetrius Bendros, so he's thrown, that is Sider, passes to 3 different receivers today. One to Lamb, one to Nunley, and this one to Bendros. And Jeremy Edwards on for the point after. And the kick is up. It is good. And it's 34-0 here in the third quarter. 11:01 remaining. Only 2 times today has Florida A&M punted. They punted in the first half, and they punted once here in the second half. They missed a field goal. So Out of all of the times that they've had the ball today, they have scored on all but 2 possessions. As you look at Jerome Sider, 3 touchdown passes for him today.
Watch again. See what happened on that play. Kernan Spate could not guard his man one-on-one. It was a one-on-one drill. All he had to do was stay with him, but he couldn't stay with him, and that was nothing but 6 on their side for Bendros. You know what? He's calling home to tell Ma, hey, girlfriend, I just got another touchdown again.
From Belglade Central High, here he is, Jawan Sider. The Greyhound scoring drive, 1 play, 7 seconds, 43 yards. And it was not Jacque Nunley, but Demetrius Bendros on the reception. So Jeremy Edwards, who's been a busy man today, he has a pair of field goals for 6 points. He also has 4 extra points, so he has 10 points in the game today, and he's not shy in scoring in the far as scoring in the MEAC. He came in as the number 2 scorer. Here's Chris Parker from the 2-yard line, and Parker gets back to the 10, and that's as far as he's going to go. First down and 10. Hampton University today has only penetrated into FAMU territory 1 time. That was their 4th offensive possession. They got to the FAMU 18-yard line, wound up trying for it on a 4th down and inches situation, was turned back. Since that time, the closest they got was to midfield. That was just before the half. So not a good offensive showing for the Pirates of Hampton today.
Sir Roughness, personal foul, hit after the ball was dead. 15 yards again.
So the ball will start. That is a break in terms of penalty at the 25-yard line for the Pirates of Hampton University, who are trailing 34-0 in this ball game. 4 penalties for FAMU, 5 for Hampton University in the ball game today. And Montrell Coley gets the call. Cola on the stop defensively for the Rattlers of Florida A&M. This is a team that's averaged 59 points a game against conference teams this year. They're 25 points away from that happening this afternoon.
They're the most dominant team there is right now, scoring-wise, and they're proving that defensively they can shut you down. And that's exactly what they're doing right now to the Pirates, shutting you down.
And we speak a lot about how FAMU is ranked offensively, and Roy Johnson tries to run. Not much going on as Jerron Daly was there to make the stop defensively, number 1. But Florida A&M comes in ranked 20th in the nation against the pass. And that's why Roy Johnson has not had the success that he would like to enjoy today in the passing game.
Once again, Johnson breaking back, but he's got to jump back into the pocket, and the reason why the defensive pressure coming up. And there's Daly, number 1, on your side with the tackle.
3rd down and 4 for Hampton University. Coley in motion. 9:43 left, 3rd quarter. Johnson back to pass. Under pressure. Throws it, and it is caught by the tight end, Weidman, and he has a first down at the 40-yard line.
Once again, it's about time they started going to the tight end, number 88, Weidman, a big tackle, and a big target. And watch him here. Number 88 will come up with the ball. At first, I thought it was an ill-advised pass by Roy Johnson, but anytime you've got a big guy like that can save you and break down the defense, that's exactly what the big tight end did.
Roy Johnson's been backpedaling, throwing off of his heels all day long. Here's Coley for 5 yards out to the 45-yard line. Montrell Coley, Richard Brooks defending.
Second down.
The one thing Joe Taylor wanted to do with this football team is to make sure that they would throw more. And they also wanted to see if this team could play more than just 2.5 quarters of football. That was exactly the case last week, because they jumped out to a huge lead against Norfolk State. And then they had to hold on to keep the lead.
McElwain on the carry. Not much going on for Mr. McElwain. We're seeing some subs come in. Greg Ray was there defensively. There he is, number 48. Out of Madison, Florida, County High, number 48.
You know, we've talked so much about the offense with 34 points on the board, but the defense is yet to yield a touchdown or a score.
Karima Mayer, the up back. Coley, the second back. Coley moves. coming to the near side. Here is Mayer trying to turn the corner. Not anything going on there. That was turned in very nicely by Grover Fields, number 35, who made sure that he didn't turn the corner. Grover, the linebacker from Pensacola, Florida. Team's leading tackler coming into this game. They call him the leveler, but he just leveled Mr. Mayer. Fourth down, punting situation. Once again, the last time Tellis punted, pointed off the side of his foot, and only a 7-yard punt, which didn't help his average. He was the third leading punter in the conference coming in with a 36-yard average. Much better this time. And the receiver, Vernon Mitchell, is trying to get something going, and he's finally brought down shy of the 30-yard line at about the 29. So there's a timeout on the field. 7:24 left in the third quarter, and 20 make it 34-0. FAMU over Hampton. 34-0 here in the third quarter. Florida A&M over Hampton. There was a roughing the kicker penalty against FAMU on that last punt. So a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down, and Hampton holds on to the football.
Indeed, number 93 got in there. That was Ernest Certain of Florida A&M. And his body and momentum just took him right into the kicker, and that's where the flag was thrown.
So Hampton gets a break. They get to keep the ball, and they have it. First down and 10 at midfield. And Coley, again, finding the running very rough today as Corey Johnson helps him up, pats him on the helmet, says, hey, I know it's been a rough afternoon, and I haven't helped the situation much because I've been part of that. That defense has been keeping you in check.
They were trying to pull over on that side. However, Corey Johnson was able to get into the hole. And anytime you can make that movement as a linebacker, that means you got the nose to the ball. And that's exactly where Corey was.
Mike Jones, the up back in the eye. Coley, the second back. Coley moves. Here's Mike Jones. Nothing doing there. He was hit immediately by Terrence Woodard, the big 6'2", 295 senior from Evans High in Orlando, Florida. There he is, big number 75, who's one of the strongest men on that defensive line.
Terrence Woodard came through big time, number 75. What I liked about that is that he was there to stop the run, and there was no time for any movement. As a matter of fact, there was only time for a loss. Stood him up and made him stay.
Third down conversions, 2 of 7 for Florida A&M, but they haven't had to do it that much. Hampton, not much better. The difference is it's 34 points on the board for FAMU. Roy Johnson decides he's going to take off and run, has some room, gets a block, but tipped up from behind. Good rundown defensively by Cedric Bird, number 55, who ran down the quarterback.
He ran him down, and Roy Johnson is getting up limping somewhat. Watch here. Number 55 will come into your screen, Charlie, from virtually nowhere, running him down. Bird flies like a bird and brings down Johnson.
Fourth down situation. Joe Taylor, I think, at this point in the game, down 34-0 with 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter, says, hey, I got to go for it. They returned back once in this game in the first half on a fourth down conversion after they had marched to the FAMU 18-yard line. Right now, the ball is, and this one is knocked away. So they still will not convert this time.
Certain, number 93.
Right.
Getting in front of your face.
Florida.
Got right into the face of Roy Johnson and made sure he was going nowhere. Johnson's footing, you can see him right there on the screen. He's limping back to the sidelines, and this young man is not there all the way around. Tough decision for him to make right now, but watch the big fella. Number 93, Certain, makes certain that the pass isn't made.
So from their own 42-yard line is where FAMU goes to work, leading 34-0. Sider stays in there, still throwing the football and has it complete on the far sideline. On the reception is Walton.
Robert Walton on the reception, number 19, and as you can see, the rich get richer. Sure, you're not going with Bentros. Sure, you're not going with Nunley or Lamb, some of the bigger names, but all of a sudden you got guys like Robert Walton that a guy like Jawan Sider can go to, and it shows you the versatility and the depth of this team.
We haven't seen Carney Alexander yet. There's Kanan Lamb wide open. Kanan Lamb running, and Kanan Lamb finally pushed out of bounds by Vincent Lewis, but not before a big gain all the way from the 46 48-yard line down to the Hampton University. Let's see where they mark it.
They marked it at the 11.
11-yard line.
Covering Canaan Lamb one-on-one is like having a hamburger without the bun. Man, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. You can't cover this kid one-on-one.
1st and 10. Lamb has a touchdown reception today. He's had a number of catches that set up scores and field goal situations for FAMU. 376 yards to 187. And here's Cedric Mitchell. And Chris Parker brings him down, but not before he gets the ball inside the 5 to about the 4, where it'll be 2nd down and about 2.
You can't play isolation on these guys. The reason why, they catch the ball and they run, and they do it extremely well, and they will get what they want once they get in the red zone, and they're there now.
Now Hampton has used its last time out, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Oh, no, they have one left. They do have one left. They have used 2 in this contest in the second half. We'll be back. 2nd down and about 2 or 3 yards to go. As you look on the sideline, warming up for Hampton University is another quarterback. Well, that's not the quarterback. That's Juriel Smith.
Juriel Smith, but he is being thrown. He's taking his pass right here from Tavares Cash, and he's the backup quarterback, number 10.
Tavius Cash, yes, and it is 2nd down. And about 3 yards to go for 1st down. About 4 yards for a touchdown for FAMU. Sider throws quickly. Touchdown, Canaan Lamb. Easy. Made it easy. And he beat Chris Parker on a quick slant.
The thing about it, when you see a slant play develop that quickly, it normally develops to 6 points. And you will see it right here. Kenyon Lamb, watch him here. This is a timing route, and he gets into the end zone with little or no struggle.
So this drive, only a few plays, 3 plays, 58 yards. Jeremy Edwards splits the uprights, and it's 41-0. Remember the long pass play that's put them down here, and now here it is, Canaan Lamb. And we have a 41-0 ball game. Sider has thrown 4 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers today.
Beautiful slant play to the inside of the defender, making sure there was distance, and when you have distance like that, you get into the end zone.
Another scoring drive. Again, 4 plays, 58 yards, 4-yard catch for a touchdown by Lamb, and they only use 42 seconds off the clock. And are you looking for a way to turn your holiday others in the same room for $20 each? Just call 800-325-3535. Jeremy Edwards has been busy today. A lot of extra points. 5 to be exact, and 2 field goals. So he has 11 points in the ball game. Number 2 scorer in the conference, and the left-footed kicker is prepared to kick it away. Chris Parker comes up. Let's see. It will not come to him. Comes to one of the other up men who does not get much and of an opportunity to run that back.
Tavares Williams with the tackle, number 7. You see him here. Florida A&M. Getting the job done on special teams, getting downfield before any interruption can happen.
Travis Hales was the man on the return for Hampton University. So they start at their own 20-yard line. This is their 3rd possession of the second half. They were trailing at halftime 27-0. And now they're trailing 41-0. Cash is in the lineup now. New quarterback for the Pirates of Hampton University. Atavius Cash is out of Washington, D.C.'s Cardozo High. He's 0 for 3 in passing this year. Has not played a whole lot. Played in 4 games a year ago. Was 2 of 6, 27 yards, no touchdown. So he has played basically in the shadow of Roy Johnson. But in this situation, Coach Joe Taylor saying, hey, we've got to do something. We're down 41-0. Our starter is not moving the team. You know, we've got to stop the bleeding somehow. Here's Cash rolling right, has some running room, turns it upfield, spins, and he stood up by a host of white shirts. Wendell Ashley leading the charge there before he could get to the anything going. He really didn't gain any yards on all of that.
Yeah, Wendell Ashley got a little shook up on that play. As a matter of fact, He's going back over to the sideline. His head is ringing, and the reason why he got taken out by his own man as well.
Here's Ashley there, and there's his friends coming in to help out. It is third down. After all of that, Cash didn't gain any yards on the play. It'll bring up a third down situation, 3rd and 10. McElwain staying in the block. Cash steps into the pocket, throws it long, and it's complete. Compton with the reception. Just kept his eye on the ball with 2 defenders around him and pulled it in for a first down.
Pure concentration by Michael Compton, and that will help the confidence of this young quarterback. Watch him here. He will drop back. He sees that he's covered, and it is double coverage on Compton right here. Watch this. The ball doesn't have extremely tight spiral, but watch his concentration. The ball goes up in the air, and Michael Compton got that football. That is what you call never letting go on the possibility of bringing it down. He's 6'4", and he used every inch of it to pull it down.
28-yard gain on the play, but on the next one, nothing going for McElwain as he has dropped for a loss by Beverly there.
Dwayne
number
Beverly.
73, yes. Dwayne out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the home of Southern University. When you speak of what's happening in the conference and how well this conference has done, they have 5 teams ranked in the NCAA statistics this week. FAMU, Howard, South Carolina State, A&T, and Bethune-Cookman, and we'll cover those for you as we go along. It is second down, second and about 12 after the loss of 2 by McElwain. And again, they give it to McElwain, turning the corner, and he's back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe 2 more yards across midfield into Florida A&M territory. And speaking of those other categories, if you want to go ahead and look at this one, Ronnie.
Well, once again, McElwain is able to make the turn on the corner, but you see, they're going to have to open up a little bit more and bring that offense more on that right-hand side. And if you've got to pull the guards, if you've got to pull, of course, the tight end, then you've got to do so, because right now, what's happened is that people are not containing their blocks and they're not making the openings, and that's why they're not able to move the football.
Third down, we'll call it 7 or 8, 3rd and 8. Minute 25 is the time remaining. And now a timeout's been taken by Hampton University. They have just used their last time out of the ball game. And we still have a minute 25 to go here in the 3rd quarter. As you look at Octavius Cash over on the sideline. Cash from Washington, D.C.'s Cardozo High. Speaking of the other teams other than FAMU or Hampton is doing something nationally as far as the 1AA rankings, FAMU ranked 21st in total offense. Howard was ranked 20th by 1 yard per game, believe it or not. But they're getting their clock cleaned today by North Carolina A&T. FAMU ranked 4th in scoring offense, 6th in passing offense. Howard ranked 21st in that category. South Carolina State was ranked 22nd in run offense. A&T 25th in run offense. And here's the top 25. Troy State leads the pack. You see Tennessee State from the Ohio Valley Conference, Southern from the SWAC are in the 2nd and 3rd position. 16th spot belongs to the Rattlers of Florida A&M. It's in this game today, and Hampton University is in the 20th spot. So the MEAC has 2 teams in the top 20, but this may not, this showing today by Hampton may not help them in their rankings as far as nationally is concerned after this.
But you talk about the scoring surge, and I talked about it earlier, of FAMU. Everyone talks about, oh, they put so many points on the board. They're averaging nearly 60 points a game in conference play. But look at the 0 on the other side of the ledger. They're not giving up points either. So that makes that defense just as good as that offense and gives them a balanced attack.
Well, they beat Norfolk State 56-7. They beat South Carolina State 76-17, Morgan 60-10, and Howard 40-34. Those are the only people they gave up any real significant points to that they lost, that they beat, and that was Howard University. Of course, the games in which they lost to Tennessee State, gave up 42 points. They lost to Miami, which was 12th ranked at the time, and they gave up 57 points. So again, new quarterback, same results. They're still punting the football. That is the Pirates of Hampton University. Tellis Bolden is on. So they started at their own 20. They get to the own 49, but they still have to punt it away. Mitchell, the deep man, waiting. And now we're going to get movement. And let's see, the left tackle rocked a little bit for Hampton University. That was Damon Watts out of Indianapolis. So that'll move them 5 yards further back. And we've been talking about the offensive side of the ball for teams in the conference. On the defensive side, A&T is ranked 7th in total defense, Hampton 13th. A&T 13th in scoring defense, Hampton 15th in pass, A&T 17th in pass defense, FAMU 20th in pass defense, and Bethune-Cookman 27th against the run. Good kick, fair catch, called for and made by Vernon Mitchell right at the 25-26 yard line. So FAMU, with their 4th possession of the second half, they've scored on 2 of the 3 previous. The first possession ended in a punt, and they're ready to go. They go with the no-huddle offense, so they don't give you a chance to catch your breath, get settled, and they have put a new quarterback in, Quinn Gray. Quinn Gray relieved Sider a couple of weeks ago when we saw them up at Howard University. Sider has done a job today. 4 touchdown passes. They have a new running back in the game, Travis Williams, and he carries the ball, and Travis Williams is up to the 29-yard line. So these are the type of games that you get some other people to an opportunity to see what they can do, because they don't really get an opportunity to play that much. They may get this playoff before the end of the 3rd quarter. Here's Quinn Gray. Gray throws a little too far, too big for the intended receiver. And there's a timeout on the field as the 3rd quarter comes to an end. Hampton trailing 41-0. We'll be back.
The Marines.
A future pirate, maybe a member of the marching force.
That's the best looking pirate I've ever seen in my life.
Maybe a cheerleader in the future here at Hampton University, getting an early start on her collegiate career. And it's 1st and 10 for the Florida A&M Rattlers. The ball is on the 16-yard line, their own 16. They've only turned the ball over 1 time today, and that was the last time after the completion. It was dropped by Charlie Allen. And on the draw play, they keep the ball on the ground. That is Florida A&M. And they run straight ahead with Lordius. Kelsey Lordius out of Killian High in Miami. And he gets a first down. His first carry of the ball game. Lordius hasn't seen a lot of action this year. In fact, on 3 previous carries, he'd been thrown for losses. -3 yards. He has the ball once again, trying to turn the corner. And Lordius picks up about 4 or 5 on this play. I'll make it 2 or 3. Of course, the last time Hampton was shut out was back in 1984. It was the first game of the season, and Tennessee State beat them 44-0. They have not been shut out since then. The quarterback, Gray, that is, Quinn Gray.
Gregory Scott was there on the stop. Number 99 got right into the backfield and put it on. I tell you what, it's sometimes you see defensive players play in sessions, and a lot of the guys you see playing right now are not 1st and 2nd stringers, they're 3rd stringers.
And of course, the first ever 1AA championship occurred back in 1978. FAMU was the winner. They beat UMass. The final score, 35-28. Rudy Hubbard was the coach of the FAMU team back then. Here's a little shuffle pass going straight ahead. And FAMU trying to pick up the first down, but they're going to be short. The ball moved to about the 35-yard line. You know, they've had some interesting coaches. When you look in the history of Florida A&M, as you look at this little shuffle pass once again, over the years, 12 national championships under 4 different coaches by Florida A&M. Bill Bell had 3 between the years of 38 and 42. Who can forget Jake Gaither, who had 6 between 47 and 64. Rudy Hubbard had 2 between 77 and 78. And, of course, Billy Joe in 98. He's the 3rd coach that they've had on the campus since 1974, starting with Rudy Hubbard, then Ken Riley, from 86 to 93, and Billy Joe came in 1994. In fact, the team went 12-1 that year. In 1978, the only loss that they had was to Tennessee State. That was a three-pointer, 24-21. They beat Jackson State in the first round. They beat UMass for the title. Also, in 1977, they won the Black National Championship, going 11-0. So they've had a lot of success in their football programs over the years. Montrell Coley back into the lineup for the Hampton Pirates.
Montrell Coley on the carry. Corey Warren on the stop. Second down.
So to bring up a second down after a gain of about 3 for Montrell Coley.
Now, see, FAMU loves you, Charlie. They're 9-5-2 anytime you've been doing their games.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, they're 2-0 when you do their games in overtime. So the next time they get to an overtime game, they're just going to call for Charlie and he'll fly you in and they can win the game.
Here's Montrell Coley with his biggest run of the day. Gain of about 7-8 yards out across midfield into FAMU territory, down to about the 44. I remember a 6 overtime game with them and this same Hampton University team at the Circle City Classic.
And who won the game, Charlie?
In Indianapolis 2 years ago.
And who won the game?
I think it was 2 years ago. It might have been 96. Anyway, FAMU won it. The final score was 59-58.
Who called the game?
I did.
Okay.
And 2 weeks ago, I called one that they won in triple overtime.
So like the stat says, they're 2-0. That's a good luck charm. At least they have you down as one.
Cash throwing deep down the far sideline, incomplete. Zuriel Smith, the intended receiver. And it was way out of bounds. No chance for a reception. That'll bring up a second down situation.
Aaron Gray was with Zuriel Smith step by step and stride for stride. And it was a great play on one-on-one coverage. These two guys were not giving up anything. Let's talk about cover. Aaron Gray was right there with them every step of the way, number 2.
FAMU next week at home against Delaware State for their homecoming. Then they play Southern University at home, which should be another great matchup. Then they go to A&T and Bethune. They close out the season against Bethune-Cookman in Orlando. And Montrell Coley again, nowhere to go because Corey Johnson was the man on the spot.
Corey Johnson came up from the linebacker position, went right through the offensive line, went right through, of course, the left guard and was able to make the tackle. Look at those numbers on the season. 12 tackles, 23 assists, a total of 35. He doesn't have any sacks, but the way he got into the backfield, that would have been a sack for him had Mr. Cash held onto the ball.
They are 2-1 in overtime games. That is FAMU. They lost to A&T. I didn't do that one.
See, that's why.
They lost to A&T and Greensboro.
Charlie, it's a moot point, man. You're a good luck charm for him, okay?
4:43 at the time remaining. Here's a pass, and it's knocked away from the intended receiver, and that's Adrian Weidman. And Weidman looks at the defender, Ashley, and says, hey, you did a great job on me. I have to give you credit. I thought I had it. Watch it.
Once again, gain in confidence is Cash. Weidman is right there, and you would think, big as he is, strong as he is, he'd be able to hold on to that football, but there wasn't enough distance between him and Mr. Ashley.
And they're going to go for it here again on 4th down. They have been turned away 3 times on 4th down so far today. They have not converted a 1 this afternoon. It's 4th and 12 for Hampton at the FAMU 46-yard line. Here's Cash under pressure, steps up, has room, turns the corner. He's going to get the first down. Still on his feet, dances back inside, spins down to about the 22, 23-yard line, but the ball comes loose. So a lot of hijinks on that one.
I tell you what, the ball came loose, and Warren Broughton, the wide receiver, just happened to fall on it. As a matter of fact, he wanted to take it upfield for more yards, but Cash gets it on a first down for them, and then he loses the ball. Watch him here. See, he gets those real happy feet. He's able to make some move. He sees all that green. He says, there's real estate for me. Look at him moving down the field. Takes another turn. He misses. Yes, he gets it. But here comes the big hit, and the ball comes right out. But Johnny on the spot, Warren Broughton, number 18, will fall on the football, and Hampton still has the football.
So a break, and they still have life. And as far as averting a shutout here, there's no way they can win this particular game. Under 4 minutes to go. Let's go down to the sideline as Mike Jones got that last carry. for Greg Willis. Greg?
Thank you, Charlie. I'm here with the commissioner of the MEAC, Charles Harris, and from a policy standpoint, one of the things that you've mandated is that the teams in the football conference play only one Division II opponent per year. What's the rationale behind that?
Well, part of what we're after is building a national profile, and in building that national profile, we've got to play against 1AA teams or better. It's important that we blend the tradition that we've had with some of our traditional rivalries, and with that we leave in the one game. But our goal is to be a national player on a 1AA scale, and that's what this game is supposed to be.
On a lighter note, one of the things that this exciting game is being brought is responsible rather because of the MEAC having an 8-game package, an unprecedented amount of games on television. What's on the horizon for the MEAC?
Well, not only are we excited about the 8 games, but the fact that we're in 33 of the top 100 markets is really important for us and important for our sponsors, but it gives us really an opportunity to showcase the marvelous institutions that are part of the MEAC. We'll come out of this with what will be a 15 or 16 game basketball package that culminates with the MEAC tournament in Richmond, Virginia next March.
Sounds like a winner. Best of luck to you, Commissioner. Back to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Greg. And here's Mike Jones straight ahead on a 3rd down and 5 play for the Hampton Pirates. And he moves the ball down close to the 20-yard line. It'll still bring up a 4th down. And again, the situation with a 4th down conversion. They have converted 1 of 3, making 1 of 4 so far this afternoon. 4th down conversions. That is the Hampton Pirates, who came into the game 6 of 16, 37% in 3rd down conversions. It'll be 4th down. We'll call it 4. Let's see what they come up with this time. They work out of the regular formation. Montrell Coley, the second back in the eye. Tavius Cash, who's come on in the relief of Roy Johnson, calling the signals. He steps back. Game clock is down to 2 seconds. He just gets it off. Play clock, rather. And it's complete to Weidman, the tight end, for a 1st down. So the 4th down gamble of plays pays off twice in this particular drive as Weidman beat Aaron Gray on the slant.
He definitely did on the slant formation. Watch him here dropping back. He calmly gives it up. That's Cash to Big Weidman. And you know what? I felt real bad for Aaron Gray because that's a big man he's got to bring down.
Weidman at 6'4", 250. Aaron Gray listed as 6'3", but I don't believe it. 198 pounds. I think
he looks like a little fella next to Weidman, man.
I think they padded those stats on Aaron Gray. It is 1st down and goal for Hampton University, trying to avert the shutout. Here's the quarterback, the pitch to Mike Jones, and he is lowball there and finished off by Jerron Daly, who would not let him get into the end zone.
But Grover Fields was the man who came back from the free safety position, and what he does, Charlie, is that he gets right into the backfield. If we get an opportunity to see this, you talk about FAMU's pride on defense. They do not want Hampton to score. They want to make sure that they take this game home with nothing on it but a 0.
2nd down.
And they are the heroes with the 41.
2nd and goal. It may not happen here as Tavius Cash has come on and driven them down the field. This drive started at their own 44. Cash running right. He's going to get into the end zone. Score. Hampton University. Tavius Cash averts the shutout.
Tavius Cash, he was the quarterback. He read that play and he said, "There's nobody going to stop me. Get away from me."
Now he took his helmet off. Now he took his helmet off.
I tell you what.
Now he didn't fall and it fell off. He took it off.
Well, you know what happened? Maybe his head was getting a little bit too big and he had to take it off because it was beginning to hurt. But you know what? He should be happy because they're not shut out. Watch him here, man. He will make it into the end zone. He high steps and glides into there. But he can't take the helmet off. Bad move, bad move.
So Tavius Cash out of Cardozo High.
He's probably saying, "How you like me now? You can see me now. You know what I look like. I'm a Tavius Cash, and I scored the only touchdown for Hampton today."
This comes with 33 seconds left in the ball game. Cash with the 1-yard run. And again, A.C. Wyatt, who has not had an opportunity today, is on for what will be a long point after touchdown kick. It's more like a field goal. It'll be a 25, make that a 35-yard extra point attempt.
I think we need to go back to the significance and the win for this game, what it means for the conference, what it means overall in the country. It gives FAMU an excellent opportunity to be within that Sweet 16 of Division I AA schools that will move on to the playoff. And if they're seated properly, if they get into a situation, there's no telling what FAMU can do, especially with the potent offense that they have. And then the significance of what this win means to their head coach, Billy Joe. He will win his 200th game of the season. We'll have more of MEAC football coming up after this.
And no good on the PAT.
The Marines.
Charlie Neal, Ronnie Duncan. 41-6 is our score. As you look at Tellis Bolin, the punter, who is going to kick the ball off for Hampton University. Tried an onside kick, but we're going to get a penalty. I believe it may have been offsides against the Pirates of Hampton, who approached the shutout. They would have been the first time since 1984 that they've been shut out in a ball game, as we showed you that graphic earlier, and the last team to do it was Tennessee State. So they have not been shut out, and this is not the largest margin of victory that they have suffered by any means. But not a good showing. Hampton had struggled in the previous 2 weeks, and they just got by a Norfolk State school a week ago by just a point. They had lost the previous 2 games to Southern University.
Have offside. Against penalty is refused. First down going this way.
They had lost to Southern University and the Aggies of North Carolina A&T, so not indicative of a Hampton team. They've dropped 3 of their last 4 ball games. And then next week, they play South Carolina State for homecoming here. Then they go to Bethune-Cookman, and they come back home and close out their season against Morgan State on November 20th. And so FAMU trying to just run out the clock as Jackson is in the quarterback for the Rattlers of Florida A&M. With 20-some seconds to go. Here's another young man we haven't seen yet today, Jeray Jackson. He's a junior at 6'6", and he's out of Miami, Florida.
You better believe he plays quarterback for the Rattlers. Even if he's third string, he can throw.
No question. You wonder where, you know, you say they always keep these people in the pocket.
Foul, a blow to the head against the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
So again, not that it really matters. It becomes strictly academic at this juncture in the ball game. Let's look at our U.S. Marine Corps players of the game. It's got to be for Florida A&M, and I haven't seen it yet. Jerome Sider, 15 completions, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. I thought it was 4 touchdowns for Sider. No, it was, yes, it was 4. He had one 30-yarder to Lamb. He had a 13 to Nunley, a 43 to Bendros, and a 4 to Lamb. So he had 4 touchdowns in the game. And Octavius Cash, who came off the bench, 8 rushes, 27 yards, and a touchdown. He gets the nod for the Pirates of Hampton University because he showed the most potential of anybody in there today.
Once again, Coach Billy Joe gets his 200th career win. The Rattlers of FAMU can go back home happy once again, remaining undefeated in the MEAC. And yet this is one of the baddest teams in the country, and the reason why they can score and put it on you big time.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, wrap things up here from Armstrong Field on Hampton University as Florida A&M comes in and walks away with a 41-6 victory. Another exciting season of MEAC football is upon us. It's college football at its best, with hard-hitting, non-stop action. From Tallahassee, Florida to Washington, D.C., MEAC football in 1999 will keep you on the edge of your seat with the stars of tomorrow today. The MEAC invites you to join us next week in Daytona Beach as the Aggies of North Carolina A&T travel south to take on the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. Last year, Bethune knocked the Aggies out of the Heritage Bowl. Will the Aggies get revenge? Find out by checking your local listings for time and station.
The Marines.
41-6, our final score. So Florida A&M snaps a 2-game losing streak to the Pirates of Hampton University. Come away today victorious, and they did it in fine style. Jawan Sider comes up with 4 touchdown passes, does a great job at the quarterback spot. You saw the yards. He threw 4 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers, so he spread the wealth around today.
He definitely spread the wealth around, but when you talk about a kid who was taken out of the game against Howard, Quinn comes in, does a fine job. They win in triple overtime. This right here has to be gratifying, because not only is this the 200th win for head coach Billy Joe, but it's another big win for FAMU. And once again, they're undefeated in the conference, and that's what it's all about. This was a huge conference game, and it came down to this moment for them to shine, and they wanted to lay it on. They laid it on big here at Hampton. Hampton playing in just their 2nd game of the season at home. They have 2 more games here remaining, and you know that Coach Taylor has to retool this team and get it back together, because this is not an indication of what I would consider Pirates football the way they play here at Hampton.
Remember, this is a team that won the conference the last 2 years, went to the 1AA playoffs, where they lost in the first round of the quarterfinals to first round of the playoffs to the University of Connecticut, but still they played extremely well even in that loss. And we'll be back to wrap things up here. Again, 41-6. Florida A&M comes out victorious over Hampton. Charlie Neal, along with Ronnie Duncan, Greg Willis, 41-6. We look at the Division 1AA or Division 1AA Black College rankings. When you look at that, you find Southern University on top. Tennessee State was 2nd. FAMU 3rd. A&T 4th. Hampton 5th. Jackson State 6th. Bethune-Cookman 7th. Grambling, Texas Southern, and Alabama A&M round out the top 10. Alcorn dropped out this week. Alabama A&M went in. The MEAC, 4 teams in the top 10, and the SWAC has 5 teams. And of course, Billy Joe, the most important thing is the 200th win in his collegiate coaching career. 48-18 at Florida A&M. In 26 years, though, he's done a great job. He spent 13 years at Central State. He won 2 national titles, 2 runners-up. He was 7 years at Cheney before coming over to Florida A&M, and he's with our Greg Willis right now. Greg?
Okay, thank you very much, Charlie. Congratulations, Billy Joe. Victory number 200, and you won it in astounding fashion.
Yes, the players played extremely well. The coaches did an excellent job of preparing our guys for Hampton, but Hampton has a real fine football team, and we wish them well the remaining part of the season.
41-6. What didn't your team do well today?
Well, we had some penalties that came at the most inopportune time, and there were some missed blocks. We didn't play a perfect game. I thought we played well, played extremely well, but we'll have to play a lot better than that to beat North Carolina A&T.
As you get this 200th victory, can you reflect upon some nostalgic moments in your coaching career that come to mind?
Well, of course, the 2 national championships in 1990 and 1992, they were very pivotal, and those are the ones that you remember, but there are a lot of them I don't care to remember.
You have a team now that won a very important game. How do you keep them motivated throughout the remainder of the conference season?
Well, our players are very mature. They're dedicated, well-focused. They have a lot of drive, design, determination, and they want to be MEAC champions. They want to be national champions. And if you are going to do that, you have to make sacrifices, and they realize what has to be done.
Very good. Congratulations to you for the remainder of the season.
Thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Billy Joe. I've known him for a long time from his collegiate days at Villanova University. 41-6. This team wins. He wins number 200, and the Rattlers go to 5-2 and 5-0 in the conference. Next week we'll be down in Daytona Beach, and MEAC College Football Saturday will have the Aggies of North Carolina A&T against Bethune-Cookman College. For Ronnie Duncan and Greg Willis, Charlie Neal saying so long from Armstrong Field here in Hampton, Virginia, where the Florida A&M Rattlers come out victorious 41-6.
My 3rd game, I think, we played against North Carolina A&T. I had 13 catches, 284 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Right now, it's probably my parents, my uncle, and even Coach Billy Joe. I mean, there's a lot of influences right now in my life, so I try to listen to all of them because each one of them has something valuable to say. We're going to a predominantly black school. I got a chance to go to school with people that look like me, talk like me, and dress like me. So, I mean, it's really nothing to worrying about if people's talking about you behind your back and everything. And then the school shows a lot of support for the football team and all the other sports. Education, God, and basically football, not exactly in that order. Never leave a DB on me one-on-one.
Now, Jaquay said he's glad he goes to a school where people look like him and talk like him. We're going to come back and go to our NFL profile. Steve Air McNair. All that on Black College Sports Today on BET.
Announcing America.
Steve Air McNair.
You face challenge, especially when you're coming from a black college every day. You're competing against people from bigger schools.